Preseason football is sponsored by McDonald's. 20-piece chicken McNuggets for just $4.99. McDonald's, I'm loving it. By PNC for the achiever in you. By Treasure Hunt, paying the most for your gold, silver, jewelry, and coins. And by your neighborhood Ford store. Ford F-Series, official truck of the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're back to Heinz Field, and now it's time for the Treasure Hunt coin toss as the Steelers get set for the Panthers. Ben Roethlisberger representing the Steelers out there, and we'll see what happens. He has some honorary kids out there, some young kids with the Steelers, and it looks like he's going to let them make the call, Edmund, and I would take the ball.
Always take the ball. You got to take the ball, especially when the kids are watching the coin toss.
There you go, the Treasure Hunt coin toss, providing us with an opportunity to see the Steelers on offense first. There's Ron Rivera, who became the 4th head coach in Panther history back in 2011. His first year tripled the win total from the previous year, despite no offseason and a rash of injuries that he suffered in his defense. Of course, you might remember him playing with the Chicago Bears in Super Bowl back in 1985. And, of course, Mike Tomlin at the other end got a 3-year extension. 40 years of age, great record already, 55-25, 2 AFC championships, and of course a Super Bowl. And I'll tell you something, coaches more than the players in today's NFL really are the sign of stability for a team. When your coach is here for a long time, it seems like that's the face of the franchise.
Ron Rivera hit the lottery ball when he drafted one Cam Newton, #1. That kid is a very special talent. Might not see a whole lot of him today, but man, did he turn that franchise around.
And there's your kicker, Justin Medlock, who just booted Alinda Mari out of a competition. He took the veteran down, and he is a rookie. Mari came in last year for John Casey. This kid comes in, and he takes over the job as a rookie. In fact, they have a new punter as well, Brad Northman, who was the first kicker or punter ever drafted by the Carolina Panthers. He is their man as well, and you can see why. Medlock's got a big leg, and that seems to be the way things are going to go. Kicks out of the end zone, no return, and the Steelers will take over 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. And there is Charlie Batch. We talked about the roster composition. Everyone knows what Batch can do in 11 years here in his hometown, but if they decide they want just 2 quarterbacks because other positions need more people, he very well could be a guy to go, although they know that he'll be around. If they should need him later in the season, they can always bring him back.
Yeah, don't know if there's going to be a scare with him getting picked up off the waiver wire, but Charlie Batch is certainly a guy, if not quarterbacking, you want that guy around because he is a leader on this team.
Chris Rainey in motion now for Batch as he goes to the bottom of your screen. Batch fires, and this one's going incomplete as the receiver went one way and the ball went another. And now it's time for the Ford starting lineup. And this is not what you're going to see tonight, but this is what was published, and this is the 4th preseason game, of course, so things will change. Mendenhall, just off the PUP list, he will not play tonight. Will Johnson's made an impression, as you see. The offensive line, when the season starts, we'll have Starks, Cologne, Pouncey, Foster, and Gilbert. David DeCastro had surgery on Wednesday. We're going to talk more about his situation coming up. And there is a penalty, and it looks like a helmet-to-helmet call here right off the bat, Edmund.
Yeah, a little bit of a pass rush and then bang. That's just ridiculous. You can't have that. He's trying to hold him up. This is number 57, Jordan Sin, but to no avail. That's a penalty. Can't hit the quarterback like that, guy.
Right off the bat, first play, helmet to helmet. They are really going to crack down on that. There's no doubt about it. Handoff goes to John Dwyer, and he can't get much. Captain Munnerlin up at his right corner position, comes up and makes that play. He was their 7th-round pick in 09 out of South Carolina. Now it's time for the Ford neighborhood store starting lineup. Again, these are published, but it's not what you'll see tonight. Hardy, McLean, Edwards, and Charles Johnson up front. In the middle, they got James Anderson, who was a beast last year with 190-plus tackles. Secondary, Gamble, Gottfried, Haruki Nakamura, and Captain Munnerlin. Batch under center. This time, it's Contry in motion for the Steelers against this Carolina defense, which thinks it's going to be better this year. Dwyer has some room to run, and Jonathan Dwyer is very close to first down territory. It looks like he could have it. Dwyer is a guy who's been impressive in this camp, no doubt.
Dwyer is a guy who was looking to try to bring it to the outside on this particular play, but there's a lot of room inside. Get some interior running done. Get your shoulder pad level down low and get the first down. He certainly did that. But right there, trying to find a place to bounce it. Get on up in there, young fella, and hit it hard. Get the first down.
Dwyer now has a fullback in there. Dwyer, by the way, 2 carries now, 10 yards. Batch, back to pass, looking for and finding his intended receiver, and that's the veteran, Jericho Cotchery. And again, it's first down yardage as the Steelers move into Carolina territory.
The big guy's doing a very nice job up front with the protection, and this is why you keep it Charlie Batch. Look at how softly this ball is thrown to the outside. Beautiful throw, beautiful catch. Cotchery with the very easy route to the outside and another first down. Charlie's got him moving, Bob, early on.
Battle at tight end, we have David Paulson in the game. Keep in mind, Wesley Saunders for the Steelers is going to be suspended for the first 4 games. He was able to play this training camp, but he will sit the first 4. Now it goes to Dwyer. Dwyer with a nice block inside, gets about 4 yards, and it was Paulson, 48, there at the point of attack.
Jonathan Dwyer getting his work in. He's a guy I think that has this team made for sure. Watch Jonathan in the front line coming at you. A little bit of a cutback and then accelerate, trying to get through the hole. Still, again, keep your pad level low and then accelerate. Don't quit looking to try to bounce it to the outside. He's continually learning. It's a work in progress, but he's still a very, very good running back.
Wide receivers in. Sanders along with Cotchery. Batch back to pass. Has time. Gets it away just before he's hit. Look in the end zone, and it's Emmanuel Sanders who is there. Part of the young money cashes in. Emmanuel Sanders, a 37-yard touchdown reception from Charlie Batch, and the Steelers are on the board.
Charlie Batch saying, look, I'm not going anywhere. Check this throw out. Unbelievable touch. Sanders just finding the seam. That was double coverage. Coming up with the football, that's the kind of play that you want to see young money making right there. Big time play, great protection, lays out, and then, oh my goodness, he's got to do a little dance.
Wow, he split Josh Norman and Reggie Smith. And Sanders, a guy who's so excited about being healthy for the first time in a long time. Sweesom adds the point after, and the Steelers complete a very nice 80-yard drive right off the bat. 37 yards. Batch to Sanders, splitting double coverage, and that has your Steelers on the move. They lead 7-0. Back with more right after this. All right, we're back, and you can see the 3 quarterbacks there. Byron Leftwich looked good last week in Buffalo. Batch looked terrific on that drive, which was 5 plays, 80 yards, occupying 231, 37 yards to Emmanuel Sanders. And one thing about Sanders, with Wallace being out, he got more reps with Roethlisberger and the first team, and I think that helped him a lot, Edmund.
Yeah, he needed the work. I mean, he's been banged up. He's had some foot issues, some lower leg issues in his first couple of years, so he really hasn't had a chance to show his stuff, and yet he looks like a seasoned veteran, Bob, with that particular catch. Unbelievable, showing the speed, getting into the end zone, and splitting 2 defenders.
Kealoha Pilaris is back deep, number 81 for Carolina. Sean Sweesom kicks it not out of the end zone, so Pilaris is going to have a return. He's at the 15 to 20. Pilaris out to the 25-yard line, and we haven't seen many returns. Pilaris out of Hawaii. He was a 5th-round pick in 2011 last year, and he had a franchise record 101-yard kickoff return against the Lions in his first season.
Well, Amos Jones not really all that happy with that particular return. Amos Jones, a guy that's taken over. And now here we are.
7-0 Steelers. Back with more from Heinz Field right after this. We're back. If you just joined us, the Steelers struck quickly on an 80-yard drive, 5 plays, Batch to Sanders, 37 yards, and there you have it, 7-0. And no Cam Newton tonight. You would expect him to be arrested for the opener. Boy, what a tremendous first season he had. We'll talk more about Cam Newton, but tonight it's Derek Anderson, a well-traveled veteran. You might remember him from his days with Cleveland. He was a Pro Bowl player in 07 with 29 touchdowns, 19 picks. And you'll see he's a guy who should be the backup. Jimmy Clausen also on this roster. First snap is a bad one. Anderson retreating. He's now just going to throw it, and he has the receiver, although he's out of bounds, so that'll go incomplete. Ben Hartsock was over there. Just a botched play from the very beginning.
Big Snack making his debut. Casey Hampton at the nose tackle position. Nice to see him back and on his feet, getting a little bit of a pass rush. Broken play there. Get rid of it. Throw it away quick. I can't believe he even completed that pass.
Good to see Hamp in there. It's been a while on that PUP list, and he needs some work, and this will be it tonight as Steve McLennan has been so good in this preseason. Hand off. right off the right side, and that goes to number 33, Tarin Poole, who was undrafted this year out of Tennessee. And now it's time for the forward starting lineups for the Panthers offense. You will normally see D'Angelo Williams, one of their big 1-2 punches. They brought in Mike Tolbert as a free agent from San Diego. Olsen, a tight end who should be good. Steve Smith has a foot infection. Brandon LaFell also very good up front. Gross, Silatolu, Khalil. We'll talk about Ryan Khalil, Hangartner, and Byron Bell, who went from undrafted to starter at the right tackle position. Now we have a stop as we have these replacement officials. Another big story as we go forward here. They're going to start the season, and we'll see how far they last. Back in 2001, Edmund, they were there for one game, and then they came to an agreement.
You know, I think the guys are going to find a way to get back in, but the NFL is stuck on one particular issue, one of many, but the big one is, you know, a permanent crew or two.
Derek Anderson in the shotgun position now. Quick hitter has his man, although it's not. Olsen almost intercepted by Ryan Monday. It hits the ground. That was intended for Se'i Ajiratutu, and it falls to the ground. It'll force a punt situation for Carolina.
Good first series. This ball is right in the breadbasket, right in his hands. Good coverage there, and oh, that should have been a pick. Ryan Monday had it. He's sitting there on the ground like, oh, how did I drop that one?
Now it's Brad Nortman, number 8, who beat out a veteran, a 12-year vet, Nick Harris. As I said at the beginning, Nortman is the first punter ever drafted by Carolina. We have a flag.
Snap infraction, 44 offense, 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down.
The electrifying Chris Rainey is back deep. You see Ron Rivera not happy with some of the fundamental lapses that this team has gone through in the preseason. Rainey, the electrifying author of some big touchdown runs already in this preseason, and I would think his position on this team is pretty well set.
You have a guy with that kind of speed, that kind of burst, able to put his foot in the ground and go at the drop of a hat. Let's see what happens here. He's got a shot.
Fields it at the 22-yard line, cuts inside, still on his feet. Rainey now looking to the outside. Again on his feet. Rainey still has it to the outside at the 50, the 40. Chris Rainey is on his way for another touchdown. Rainey is into the end zone with a somersault to boot. 78 yards. We do have a penalty way back at the 45-yard line. I just saw it there. But boy, Chris Rainey continues to impress, Evan. What are you going to say about that?
That guy is unbelievable every time he gets a chance. Look at it now. He's going away from the return. The return is a left return. He has to weave his way among a bunch of receivers. Almost goes down there and then sticks his foot in the ground, and that's it. He's gone. And it looks like it's going to come back. All for naught. But you know what this kid can do. He is going to be something else, Bob, in the regular season.
And you know the key, you know, he's not the biggest guy, but if you use him in those situations, could be a tremendous weapon. And I think Todd Hayday loves having 22. It went for naught, but I think you're going to remember that play, even though it was taken back by penalty. We'll be back with the Steelers on offense right here at Heinz Field. Heinz Field, Bob Pompiani, Edmund Nelson, Jeff Rosella with you, 7-0. Thursdays at 10 on CBS. Remember, Elementary is a fresh take on Sherlock Holmes featuring Johnny Lee Miller in a star-making turn as Holmes and Lucy Lewis Watson. It's a modern take on legendary detective who's the biggest and most compelling mystery of all. It's Elementary. Watson coming up Thursdays at 10 on KDK and CBS. Steelers back on the field second time under Charlie Batch. The first one was a 5-yard, 80-yard touchdown drive. Batch to Sanders. He's back to throw again. Protection good. Fires, and he has Leonard Pope on a nice defensive play by Reggie Smith, who came up from his safety position, knocking it away from the big 6'8" tight end.
Leonard Pope had an opportunity. He has to know where his deep safety is on this particular route. Watch it as he throws. He needs to use that big body to get in between the ball and the safety. The safety comes up and just makes a really good play. Pope had a chance to elevate, maybe try to catch that ball in his body and protect that ball from being knocked away. But the big fella knows what he's doing out there. He's been around a while.
2nd and 10 now for the Steelers. Final tune-up before they head to Denver. And a rematch of that playoff game. Underneath, that one's knocked down. And a good defensive play right there at the line of scrimmage from Thomas Kaiser, who's undrafted. The guy who's trying to make this roster spot out of Stanford.
Charlie Batch having an opportunity to complete a pass in the flat has to know where the defensive linemen are and find a seam where he can get that ball out there. That would have been a completion of 7, 8, 9 yards had he gotten that ball out there in good fashion.
Number 15, Derek Williams, who had 2 catches last week, including 1 for a touchdown, making a bid to be that 5th receiver out of Penn State. He's on the field now in his 3rd down play. Batch up the middle, has time, sings it, has his man. It's in and out of the hands of Leonard Pope. He had that for a 1st down. He had coverage by Jordan Senn, but Pope did not hang on.
2 huge opportunities for Leonard Pope. He knows that he needed to catch those 2 drops. Could have kept the drive alive on that second one, but pay attention to that offensive line, Bob. We're not saying anything about them because they're doing a fine job protecting Charlie Batch.
Here's Drew Butler, who's been very impressive in this game as punter, almost exclusively. In fact, he was exclusive. The ball comes loose. It's on the sidelines. It's recovered by the Steelers. It is Curtis Brown who has it over there, and it is a live football. Before he got out of bounds, Brown recovers the muff punt, and the Steelers are back in business.
Carolina just seems to be a little bit out. Look, the ball's on the ground. He kicks it. It's going towards the sidelines. All you got to do is get possession prior to going out of bounds. Looks that's what happened. Watch, this ball just hits him right in the breadbasket. Then he kicks it. Now it's like, oh, my goodness, what has happened? Steelers recover. That's a big, big play early on in this first quarter.
That was Joe Adams. He was their 4th-round pick out of Arkansas. And you might remember a play that he had one of the most electrifying punt returns against Tennessee in his college career. Really, it took 18 seconds for him to catch the ball to get in the end zone. It was one for YouTube for sure, but Joe Adams fumbles that one. He got a little too excited, and Curtis Brown says thank you very much.
Bob, I tell you, your memory, you're like a
previous
computer,
plays under
man.
review.
Forget anything. So they're going to review this one, Bob. It's they're trying to see if
out of
possession.
bounds?
Yeah, they're trying to see if the Steelers actually got possession prior to going out of bounds.
All right, our referee Jim Wittenberg will go under the hood, and we'll see what happens when we come back to Heinz Field right after this. 7-0, Steelers have the lead. Back 7-0, waiting the call here from our referee. That's Jim Wittenberg. He went under the hood. Let's see what he saw.
After review, the call on the field stands. Pittsburgh ball.
Well, Bob, we were looking at it on the replay. I don't think he ever got out of bounds. Let's take a look at it right here, folks. Bob's the ball. Let's see if it goes out. Ball is going. All right, now watch possession right there. Now let's see if he ever goes out. Does he ever go out? And does anyone that's out ever touch the ball? No. He's got the ball, never gets out of bounds. I don't even know if he's even touched down, but clearly Steeler ball.
All right, Steelers have it in Carolina position at the 37-yard line. And this is Chris Rainey, who had the touchdown called back. Not much there. Big, beefy front 4 of that Carolina defensive line. And that's Frank Kierce, who is there, number 99. Hey, tonight's Steeler game is brought to you in high definition in partnership with Xfinity from Comcast.
Chris Rainey is not going to be an every down back. It's going to be rare that you're going to see him just line up in the tailback position and run it from there. You're going to see a little bit of that to keep him off balance. Again, we got a little false start on the left guard.
We got moving on the left side of that line. You're right.
False start, offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down.
What do you think of Willie Colon over there? He and Max Stark, different position, different assignment for Colon.
Yeah, you know, I think Colon is made to be a guard, actually. I thought that he was playing out of position at tackle because not quite tall enough, arms not quite long enough, and yet he's a guy that has the attitude of, look, put me wherever, I'll make it work, and he certainly has. Other than the injuries that he has sustained over the last couple of years, Willie Colon has been very consistent playing at tackle, but I think now he's trying to hold it guard.
Here's a little reverse coming, fake reverse, and they set up a screen. It comes to Rainey. Rainey looking for some blockers, has nowhere to go, and he gets down quickly before he gets hit over there by Jason Phillips, who was torpedoing, and Rainey said, I'm going down on this one.
You know, he got banged up a couple of times when he touched the football in the previous games, Bob, and he told me that, you know, that was just a welcome to the NFL. Now he understands when big guys that are bigger than me are coming at me, get on the ground, live to play another day. And that's exactly what he did.
So now it's 3rd and 16. Getting back to Cologne, one of the differences is the assignments. At tackle, you're just taking on the best rushers in the game. At tackle, you got to look at other things and play off your center as well. He's done it well. There's pressure now. Batch dumping it off, and again it goes to Rainey. He makes the move but cannot get away from Jason Phillips, who gets him by the ankles and takes him down, and the Steelers are going to have to punt the football away.
Trying to give Chris Rainey just a little bit of an opening to find a way to make one guy miss and get out there and do his thing. Couldn't quite get it done on the last 2 previous plays, but as we know, he has the potential at any given play to take it to the house.
All right, once again, Drew Butler. Last time he punted to Joe Adams. It was a fumble. The Steelers recovered. They did nothing with it. Adams will get another try here. He's going to signal fair catch, and he has a good punt by Butler, who's been really solid in this preseason. Kapanos has been out with his back injury. That's a punt of 35 with no return. And we'll take a break. Steelers back on the field on defense when we come back. All right, we're welcoming you back to Heinz Field. 7-0 Steelers have the lead. Carolina back on offense, and Steeler football on KDKA and the CW. You got a lot of programming as usual. 9 o'clock Saturdays. It's 1 full hour of Steelers Saturday night. A big program announcement coming up at halftime to tell you about that. 11:35 Steelers Huddle. We'll be down on Heinz Field for that. Saturdays, we'll get you started with the McDonald's Steelers kickoff. Following most games, it's the Xfinity Wireless Extra Point, all on KDKA and Pittsburgh CW. Derek Anderson back under center for the Carolina Panthers. Handoff. Once again, goes to number 33, Mr. Poole. He's run down from behind by Will Allen, but a nice run there by Terrell Poole.
Right up the middle, a little bit of a gap there in that Steeler defensive front. Guys got to get off of blocks. Guys getting blocked. Cameron Hayward getting knocked out of the line, although he wasn't at the point of attack. That's a nice run right up the gut. And that's what Carolina does. Their two top running backs, Bob, won't play tonight.
Yeah, D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart, a good 1-2 punch. And they like this kid, Tyron Poole. They traded Mike Goodson. They had so many running backs. Got some value in return. Here's a screen to Poole. Poole trying to get right through the Steeler defense. He gets first down yardage before he's hit hard by Ryan Munday, but not before they move the chains. And Tyron Poole is out of Tennessee when undrafted. Many people thought he would be drafted, but he fell out of the draft.
Yeah, finding a little bit, taking advantage of the Steelers' pursuit, letting anybody run off, and then Poole getting it, trying to do a little something in the open field. You know, Jonathan Stewart got banged up a little bit last week, hurt his ankle, had to go out of the game towards the end of the third quarter. That's a guy, that 1-2 punch. D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart, as good as there gets, 1-2 punch at running back in the NFL.
No question about it. You add Cam Newton to that, and you got a lot. Here's a delayed handoff up the middle, nothing doing right there. Steelers defensively answer that call. Cam Hayward was in there along with Chris Carter, who's had such a very good camp in place of Harrison. They got some beef up there. Lawrence Timmons also involved.
Cam Hayward now playing behind his pads. This is beautiful right there. That's the way you do it. You kind of two-gap, make sure that you stymie the guy. Don't lose your balance. You have to be able to go inside, protect over, and also get to the outside. And Lawrence Timmons, I mean, what can you say about him? He's had a great camp and quietly has become one of the leaders on this Steelers defense. Looking for big things from him this year.
No question about it. That's a loss of 1. It's 2nd down and 11 now for Derek Anderson. Operating against the Steeler defense. Anderson looking left, throwing down the field, overthrowing his intended receiver Smith. Good coverage by Carter. And just in case you missed it this week, both James Harrison and Jason Worlds came off the PUP list. There's some concern still about Worlds with that wrist injury. I don't know if he's going to be ready. Harrison thinks he should be by Denver.
You know, you can't take anyone's word for it, Bob, because they haven't practiced, so you just don't know. I mean, there's going to have to be a lot of physicality between now and the opener in Denver. I mean, you just don't know how much you're going to put on James Harrison to play. Chris Carter is going to have to be ready to play. He's had his share of problems this preseason, but he's played fairly solid, so I think he's going to be okay.
All right, it's 3rd down and 11 now for Anderson. Steeler defense looking for some sack action. Penalty flag flies. And again, looks like a pre-snap penalty against Carolina.
False start, offense, 73. 5-yard penalty, repeat the down.
That's Bruce Campbell out of Maryland. He was a 4th-round pick in 2010 from Oakland.
Taking a little bit of a step, trying to get a little bit of a jump because he knew Chris Carter was going to be on the edge. Carolina looks a bit out of sorts. Don't they, do you? I mean, it just seems like they're really not all here for this final preseason game.
All right, they send in 3 wides now on the 3rd and 16. Although those injuries do factor into roster composition and who's going to be available and not. We'll see as tomorrow rolls around. Anderson steps up, throws, and it looked like there was a case of, like you call it, alligator arms there by Tyron Poole. He's upset with Poole. He did not complete the play. It falls incomplete. Got a punt.
You know, we haven't seen the alligator arms lately this preseason, but I think the red light came on when he was trying to reach for this ball. Let's see if he has. He reached out. Oh, my goodness. Look at that.
One of the guys was open down the field, though.
Look at this, folks, at the top of your screen right there. Look, wide open. There's wide open right there. Nobody covering him. Coverage went to the flat.
Another high booming kick. Rainey backpedals. He takes it at the 10. Rainey now gets away from one man. Rainey up the middle. Rainey showed you the speed that he has. Rainey, and the flag flies again. Chris Rainey is off to the races. Another touchdown. A flag came right in.
Yeah, there's a flag. You know, they're going to call the paramedics on this one because
ankle breaking.
Yeah, I think somebody broke their ankles right there. Matter of fact, my ankle's hurting because I took the fake. Chris Rainey, unbelievable. The two plays that weren't, both returns for touchdowns.
Holding on the return team during the return, number 29. 10-yard penalty enforcement, spot of the foul. First down.
So it's on Ryan Monday. We'll have to see. Mike Tomlin doesn't agree.
Well, let's see the holding. Yeah, there it is right there. You see the holding, a little bit of a holding.
Oh, yeah.
That could almost not have been called, but I'm more concerned with the gentleman whose ankles are hurting because they're going to certainly be swollen, and they're going to have apply some ice packs because his ankles are they're hurting pretty bad right along through.
But, you know, you could erase those from the scorecard. You can't erase them from your memory, and coaches know that's pretty special, and teams are going to have to watch out.
Well, again, I mean, you know, you hate to put a focus on Amos Jones, but this is now his special teams job, and two big penalties in a real game out in Denver, Bob. You don't make those mistakes. You're up 21-0 at this point. You cannot afford to make those kinds of mistakes on special teams.
All right, Batch hands off to Dwyer. Dwyer cuts his back, reverses his field. Dwyer has first down yardage, stiff arms and more to the 30-yard line. He pushed back Reggie Smith, number 31. Dwyer has been good, and he's getting better.
And this is what Dwyer usually looks to do. You know, if anything, he likes to cut it to the outside. Now watch him. He's going to go to his left and then a little cutback. There's a wall right there. Look at that cutback lane. Beautiful. Now he gets out and does what he gets to do. Gets the big body on those little bodies. And believe me, at 240 pounds or so, defensive backs want nothing to do with that train coming at him.
Dwyer, 4 carries, 27 yards. By the way, with Rainey, a 78-yarder for a touchdown, also a 90-yarder for a touchdown, both wiped out. Here's Dwyer making a big yard, and Smith comes over and knocks him down, but not before a healthy gain of close to 20 yards. Dwyer with another first down as he goes left side this time.
Did you see the nimble feet, folks? And watch this nimble. Somebody else's ankles get broken right there. Oh! Ow, that hurt me. I'm sitting up here in the press box, and my ankles are now getting swollen. Bob, I need some ice. The big fella with the twinkle toes bringing it to the outside, and somebody's ankles now are in danger of having to get ice after the game. Boy, you hate it when that happens.
Baron Batch in the game now for the first time tonight. It's been Dwyer and Rainey back there, but Batch also a guy who has his eyes set on a roster, and with John Clay no longer here, you would think that's pretty well wrapped up, and he has done well considering he had ACL surgery last year, and number 20 has answered that bell.
About mid-season, I was talking to Barron last year, and he was ready to go then. Of course, they couldn't activate him off of IR. But, you know, he healed very quickly, said it was kind of a fluky thing how he got hurt. All he was doing was running. But he is raring to go, and I see Mewelde Moore all over this young man. A young Mewelde Moore, very versatile, very tough, able to block, and certainly able to run and catch the football.
Batch now. Inside handoff goes to Batch. Batch up the middle. Gets about 3 or 4 before he's hit pretty hard. That play looked promising before Ojemdi Nwabu came up and made the play.
Who was that?
You didn't hear me the first time?
I'm sorry, no, I didn't.
Ojemdi Nwabu.
That's very well done, Bob. Very well done. Big play here with the Steeler offense. It's 3rd and short, and we've seen it. They get in the tight formation, and they've been running these balls, Bob.
All right, Will Johnson is in the game. Play action now. Batch is going to throw it. Has his man, and that is Johnson. Johnson at the 20-yard line. And what a play call right there on 3rd down and short. Will Johnson, not on a roster last year at all. He's from West Virginia University, and because of the injury to David Johnson, he gets a shot.
A little bit of a wheel route coming out there. Charlie knew what he was going to do. Great play fake. And then Johnson gets out on the outside. Charlie Batch is doing everything out here. Watch the fake. Look at the fake here. Watch that. Play action. Beautiful. Sticks it in the belly. Pulls it out. And then just a nice little touch. Look at that protection. Off of a great play fake like that, nobody even near Charlie Batch. And Charlie, what he does with his, when he quarterbacks, his ball is so very catchable. Just a nice soft throw out there to the flat, easy completion.
27 yards on the completion to Will Johnson. What a story that is. Not at all on a roster now. It looks like he's going to have a roster spot based on injuries, and that's going to take some time. Opportunities. You don't like to see him that way, but he gets one. Here's Dwyer now. Trying to follow the blocking, and there's not much there as the Carolina defense stepped up on that occasion.
What I believe is going to have to happen with Carolina is they're going to have to make up their minds that they're going to play a little football tonight, because if they don't, they're going to get blown out a la Buffalo last week up in Buffalo against the Steelers. Ron Rivera is trying to find somebody who wants to play. Remember, everything is not set in stone. Yeah, there are a couple of starters who are going to make this team, but right now these guys are playing for their jobs. At this point in the game, Bob, it looks like it means a little bit more to the Steelers than it does to the Carolina Panthers.
Already on this drive, gains of 14, 18, and 27 for the Steelers. It's now 2nd and 11. Handoff once again to Dwyer. He's up the middle, not much doing there again. The Carolina defense steps up. They got some big guys up front who are looking to make things happen, and that's one of them. Number 99, Frank Kierce out of Alabama A&M, a 7th-round pick last year from the Dolphins. And we are in the Heinz red zone. Rainey's been there a lot tonight, but it doesn't count. Complimentary ketchup on the way.
Oh, yeah, and you see one of the young wide receivers in there, Derek Williams, number 15, down at the bottom of your screen, folks. Coming in, look for him to make a play.
Patch, quick hitter, goes to Kotri. Nice block right there by Pope. Kotri gets inside the 10. There is a flag down, however. Leonard Pope threw his body around, enabled Kotri to get some yardage there.
Looks like it may have been a bit of a hold. The young receiver Williams out there blocking downfield. You know, you got to block
an
where you
illegal
can catch
block in
it.
the back. The offense, number 45. 10-yard penalty enforced from the spot of the foul. Repeat, 3rd down.
Well, they call it on
Victimized again. Let's see it right here. Here he comes. Here he comes. And that is in the back. You have to get your head in front. You can catch a piece of the side, but you have to get the head in front on that block. Again, Leonard Pope not having his best game, having a little bit of trouble catching the football and now blocking and possibly stymieing a pretty good drive.
He was a 3rd-round pick with the Arizona Cardinals back in 2006. 7th season, he's kind of followed Todd Haley everywhere he's gone, and Haley likes to utilize him. And again, even though Heath Miller, to me, Edmund, has not been that busy this training camp, I suspect he's going to be a big part of this offense once we start for real.
You know, I think so. I certainly hope that Todd Haley has big plans for Heath Miller. He's just too good not to have involved in the offense all the time.
3rd down for Batch now. Pressure comes, he steps up, trying to get away from it. Batch now finally hit, grab, and down by Frank Alexander, who was there to make the play. A 4th-round pick this year out of Oklahoma.
Looks like Sean Sweesom is going to get a chance to get a long field goal. He's been pretty accurate here thus far.
Although I got to give some kudos to Daniel Rappman. He got cut last week, but he was 5 for 5 in this preseason. And he looked very good, so I'm sure somebody around the league will keep his name on the speed dial.
You know what happens when a critical one is missed early on? Sometimes they fall out of love real quick.
Hold by Butler, kick by Sweesom, 49 yards away, is up, and it is good. Sean Sweesom looks like he's in midseason form. 10-0, the Steelers take the lead in what has been an explosive first quarter. More points have been nullified than what we actually see on the board.
Pretty exciting to watch. Guys trying to make the squad. Very exciting time for these young guys to get their opportunity to do what they need to do, and that is show their stuff.
Here we go, a little program reminder to you. Billionaire playboy Oliver Queen was presumed dead when he's discovered alive on a remote island. As Oliver reconnects with those closest to him, he secretly creates the persona of Arrow, a vigilante. He wants to right the wrongs of his family and fights the ills of society. It's Arrow, Wednesday night at 8, starting October the 10th on Pittsburgh's CW. By the way, Sweesom, you consider that field goal 49 yards. I know it's August here, but that's to the open end, and that's kind of rare. Normally, that you get into November, you won't see too many successful field goals from near midfield.
Yeah, Bobby had leg to spare, too. He made that by a good 10 to 15 yards, so Sean Sweesom showing some strength early on in that leg.
All right, the kick now goes to Joe Adams. Adams takes it right at the goal line. Adams at the 10. He's got speed to 20, trying to cut up the field, and he's down by Will Allen. 2 flags fly on the play. And it looks like Ben Hartsock, 84 for Carolina, was signaling against the Steelers. We'll wait and see. There was a fumble, too, at the end of it. And Adams, who fumbled earlier, lost it. They seem to have gotten that one back.
Yeah, and they're throwing laundry all over the field, trying to figure out what's going on here. It looks like it may be a hold of some type. But flags flew everywhere very early on in that return.
Holding on the return team, number 26. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Looks like they got a little bit of a hold right here. Well, I don't see number 26 in there, so it must have been down in the lower part of your screen where we didn't see it. And then the ball gets on the ground.
Ron Rivera looking on. Second year in charge, big expectations. Some of them come from his own players. We'll explain that in a second. But Rivera used to be the defensive coordinator with the San Diego Chargers. Got a really prolific offense here. A lot of weapons when Cam Newton's under center. This is a handoff going nowhere. And it's diagnosed by Adrian Robinson out of Tampa, who's been very impressive in this camp. And we come to the end of the first quarter, you would think, with 20-some seconds remaining.
Very strong over there, that left side of that defensive front, playing off the blocks, playing on the Carolina Panthers side of the line of scrimmage. That's how you do it.
All right, 10 seconds, and that will be the final play of the first quarter as teams will shift to the other side of the field. Been a good one for the Steelers. Big touchdown pass from Batch to Sanders. A couple of punt return touchdowns. Rainey wiped out by penalty. Mike Tomlin can't be happy about that. But all in all, pretty good start for this game. 10-0. Steelers have the lead. We'll be back with second quarter action right after this on KDKA. Preseason football on KDKA is brought to you by Hyundai, proud partner of the Pittsburgh Steelers. By Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Highmark, 20,000 people behind the card working for you. Xfinity, the future of awesome. Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And by Chevy Cruze and your Western Pennsylvania Chevy dealers. Bob Pompiani, Edmund Nelson, Jeff Rosella back with you. 10-0 Steelers have the lead after one quarter of the final preseason game. Pitch goes to Smith, and he is dragged down by Sean Spence, this year's third-round pick out of Miami. Number 51 making it happen there.
Sean Spence is going to be a player. You've been looking at him. He's playing very solid on special teams all preseason. Gets a chance to get in there. And, you know, you said it early on, Bob. There's a reason why he has number 51 on his chest. You just don't give 51 to anybody. James Farrier carried that very, very well during his career. And now you got a young guy out of the U trying to show his stuff. Sean Smith is going to be a good ball player.
All right. They spread the field. Carolina does this time. Derek Anderson in the shotgun. Facing third down now for the Panthers. Here comes the pressure. He delivers. He has Pilaris. Pilaris is ridden out of bounds there by Cortez Allen, but he appears to have first down yardage.
What you're going to see here for the rest of the game is pretty vanilla defense. You know, you're not going to have the defensive coordinators reaching into their pockets, going into a lot of deep stuff, deep coverage, a lot of blitzes. They're going to let the guys play pretty vanilla, so you're going to see some guys playing off a little bit. But they're trying to find out whether guys want to play or not.
Some numbers from the first quarter, 10:21 to 4:39 time of possession Steelers. 8 total penalties, and of course 2 punt returns for touchdowns by Rainey, 78-90, nullified by penalty. Anderson throws, has his man. That's Lewis Murphy, far side of the field. And the former Oakland Raider there makes the reception, and it's another first down. You might remember Lewis Murphy because he beat the Steelers in 2009. 9 seconds left to play on Bruce Gradkowski's touchdown pass to him.
I remember Bruce had a great game, came into his hometown, was doing his thing, and the Steelers were a pretty good football team at that time, too, and the Raiders just took it to him.
Yeah, they really did. Kind of a shocking outcome there. Originally, he was with Oakland out of University of Florida, won 2 BCS national championships there, and now Lewis Murphy with Carolina trying to add to Steve Smith and company. Handoff right up the middle. It's a good run there by Armand Smith out of Union College in Kentucky.
Steve McClendon in the middle now getting some snaps at nose tackle, just trying to keep warmed up, get game ready. But that one right up the gut, right on the zero. You have to get off of blocks. That's the main thing. When you have a run, coming right at you up the middle. If you're stymied with an offensive lineman in front of you, you have to be able to keep him extended with your arms, play low, come off the blocks and make the tackle. Did not happen there.
Second down for Carolina as they get close to midfield. Operating from their own 45. Once again, Smith. And he's ridden down. Nice defensive play there by Will Allen. Got him by the ankles. Will Allen, 9th year out of Ohio State. And there's a battle going on for who's going to make this defensive secondary when it comes to safety position.
Will Allen right now backing up Troy Polamalu, at least on the depth chart, is a guy that can also play free safety. Very versatile. Has some experience with Mike Tomlin down Tampa Bay way. Has come up to Pittsburgh and done a nice job.
All right, it's a 3rd and 1 as the crowd looking forward to the Steeler defense coming up with a stop right here. They hand it, actually pitch it to Armand Smith. In pursuit of Spence. He gets there, but not in time to stop him from getting first down yardage. Carolina will move the chains again.
This is a really good play to see the speed of Sean Spence. Have a little dive and the naked pitch going out to the outside. Spence was right there. Watch the speed. Here he is right here. Watch him going to the sidelines. Look at the speed going to the sidelines. He barely gets there. That's only a yard gain, folks. Spence was in very good position. Watch the speed. Look at the leg turnover. That's why you draft him in the 3rd round, because of that kind of speed. This guy, he could also, I thought maybe he might be looking at a strong safety job at first.
Carolina 2 for 2 on 3rd down in this drive. Derek Anderson delivers, and he has his man Armani Edwards covered by Keenan Lewis, but it goes through Edmonds' hands on the 9th play of this drive. Armani Edwards out of Appalachian State.
Good pressure on Derek Anderson. Almost thought that there might have been a flag thrown for going low on a quarterback. You certainly can't do that. But the pressure caused him to throw that ball a little earlier than he wanted to. Not quite where Armani needed to have it to make the catch.
Armani Edwards, he was interesting story because he was the first college quarterback to throw for 9,000 career yards and rush for 4,000. You might remember that big upset Appalachian State at the Big House against Michigan.
That was huge. Yeah,
he was the quarterback for that game.
Shows you the versatility now as a wide receiver.
Anderson throws. Nice route right there, and it's another first down, and that is Lewis Murphy, the veteran.
Wiped it off out of bounds.
Yeah, there is. He said he got it out of bounds. I thought he had it.
That might be reviewed. Let's look at it and see if we can see it here on the replay. Throwing right to the sidelines. He get catch one, and the other one comes out of bounds.
Good call by the official.
Catch. Yes, it was.
Another 3rd down. This is the longest one they've had on this drive, Edmund. They are 2 for 2 on 3rd down.
Carolina showing signs of life, Bob, on offense.
Pressure out the corner. They pick it up. Anderson throws and completes it. This one to Polaris. Kealoha Polaris gets first down yardage. They're now 3 for 3 on 1st down. Or 3rd down, I should say.
Derek Anderson making the case for his backup position. Solid with the 3rd down conversion. Taking a look at his receiver coming across the middle. That's a very nice catch. Man, did you see that turf come up there? Look at that turf come up.
Big piece of it, yeah.
Wow, now
still
that's
golf season.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that was that 9-iron wedge.
Yours, Edmund, would take a
Stop it.
But you get a lot of spin on a golf ball, I should say. I saw you at the Milan Classic Pro-Am this week, so we'll talk more about that. There's a slant pattern in and out of the hands of Murphy, but he comes back and holds on. And another nice, crisp pass by Derek Anderson. 11 plays this drive, and first 2 combined, they had only 8, 4 apiece.
Derek Anderson like a machine. Just, 3-step drop out of the shotgun right in his hand. Almost another drop. You can't drop that one. That's just too good a throw. It's right in the breadbasket. Tried to catch it one way, caught it the other way, and then gets down. Derek Anderson. Yeah, I played with Anthony Rodriguez at the Milan Classic. He's here tonight, by the way.
We'll have a leaderboard from the Milan Classic this week at South Point. Bannisburg coming up shortly. Meantime, not much there, and that's Cam Hayward, Ryan Monday wrapping those guys up.
Bob, I always used to like to see a running back spin, because if I got a chance when he was spinning, I was going to try to take him out. This guy's coming into the line of scrimmage, all that traffic, and now you're going to turn your back and spin. You have to try to knock him out at that point. He got away with one there.
Number 19, Sei Jaratutu comes back into the game. Kid out of Fresno State trying to make a roster here for them. Second second down for Derek Anderson as they get close to the Steeler 20, and it's complete to the big tight end. They're holding on is Brandon Johnson, and that's Gary Barnidge, who is the backup to Greg Olson, who I think is going to have a breakout year. That big tight end they acquired from the Bears, he is something else, and he could have one of those Gronkowski or who else could we mention, guys like that, those big, the guy from New Orleans.
Hernandez.
Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, Graham, all the same type. Look at that guy towering over everybody. Big number 82.
Olsen's not playing here tonight, but last year 60 receptions. He's up and coming. I think he's going to like playing with Cam Newton. Anderson looking in the end zone. Cortez Allen with very nice coverage on Amani Edwards. That falls incomplete. I think Cortez Allen has been very good this preseason. I still think Keenan Lewis will be the starter, but that's a nice guy to have behind.
Yeah, Cortez Allen, a guy, once you hear the ball call, you have to get your head around. Watch it. Here it is here. Here comes the blitz. Look, three-step drop, and he lets it go. Now right there, somebody's got to yell, ball! Ball's in the air, and now he has good technique into there, little hand fighting. But when you hear the ball call, you have to work your body into the receiver, Bob, and get your hands up, explode your eyes back, try to pick up the ball, maybe get your hand on it, maybe intercept it.
Second out for Anderson. Looking right, throwing right, and he does not combine with Murphy. It goes beyond him, and that falls incomplete. Got a note tonight, Edmund. The New York Jets have finally scored a touchdown in the preseason.
No.
Yes.
I don't believe
14 quarters, 198 plays with all the attention to Sanchez and Tebow. That's it. So they finally scored. It took a long time. Greg McElroy got the touchdown for the Jets.
Bob, we've been watching them. Yeah, we've been watching the New York Jets, all preseason. If that isn't going to be a three-ring circus up there all year long, I don't know what is. Unbelievable.
Carolina's been perfect on third down on this drive. It's been a time-consuming drive. Anderson now stepping up, avoiding pressure, throwing into the end zone. Trying to go for Polaris, but again, good coverage by Cortez Allen. It's incomplete, and the field goal unit will come onto the field.
Cortez again in very good position. We're down at the bottom of your screen watching. He's out here on an island, coming out right there. Let's see if he gets his eyes back that time. If that ball was thrown where it needed to be thrown, he may have been able to pick that one. He's looking, trying to make a back shoulder throw, but the receiver has no momentum, and the ball is thrown a little bit wide.
There's Justin Medlock, the left footer. Won the job from Alindo Mari this training camp. 31 yards away, right down the middle. He's been very solid, and Ron Rivera likes his young kickers. We're going to take a break. Carolina on the board. They settle for 3 after a long drive. Steelers lead by 7 when we return to Heinz Field. Welcome back. A beautiful night. As you can see, the city of Pittsburgh shining tonight. Steelers also in control, 10-3, leading that score. And we got the Coors Light Kickoff and Rib Fest going on in Heinz Field, and it takes place all weekend here from tonight through September the 3rd. Lots of activity going on, including September the 2nd, a Steeler 5K benefiting the Art Rooney Scholarship Fund. September 3rd, register for a free youth camp. And then country rock superstar Uncle Kracker at 4. Lots of good stuff, including the Pitt Panthers. We wish Paul Christ and his team all the best as they open up the Paul Christ era of Pitt Panther football against Youngstown State.
Can he do it 3 times, Bob? That is the question.
Here's Rainey, Mr. Electrifying. He will have a return. This is a kickoff return. He had 2 punt returns for scores. Still on his feet. This time gets to the 18-yard line. Last week I asked you about having Antonio Brown back there, mostly because we hadn't seen Rainey do this. Right. It wasn't his fault. He wasn't getting opportunities. You see what he could do with the opportunities.
Oh, just give him a little bit of an opening, and this guy is lightning.
Back 10-3 Steelers. You're looking at the incline, and you can see Emily Owens, a first-year intern at Denver Memorial, but Emily soon finds out the clicks at Denver too familiar. But Emily also realizes she may also grow to be a great doctor herself. It's Dr. Emily Owens, MD, Tuesdays at 9, starting October the 16th on Pittsburgh's CW. Steelers back on offense now. Charlie Batch remains in the game. And we see David Gilreath for the first time, number 18. We saw Derek Williams. I think it's a 2-man band. Those two to be the 5th receiver now that Mike Wallace is back. It's a handoff right up the middle. It goes to Dwyer, bouncing into the outside. Dwyer now one-on-one with a cornerback, and he almost gets around Josh Thomas. It's a good first down run for number 27.
Certainly the rambling wreck from Georgia Tech. The big guy with the nimble feet. Watch him bounce to the outside here. Look at him hit it up in there, and now he's looking for daylight. And the stiff arm right in his mug, and then he just tries to outmaneuver him and gets first down yardage. That's a nice run. He's been doing that all camp. I think this guy is going to be one of the top backups in the league if he continues at this pace.
Right, it'll start with Redmond and Dwyer, with Rainey and Batch, and waiting for Chardon Mendenhall, who has been removed from the PUP list. So does anyone guess when he might play? But that's a pretty good stable of running backs from what we've seen. And there's a nice little Scott jump step by Dwyer as he gets about 4 yards on that play.
Dwyer, very dangerous back and a very good combination. One of those guys, kind of like Jerome Bettis, only with a little more speed in my opinion. Maybe not quite as nimble as the bus was in his heyday, but when he breaks it out there, it's hard to catch him. He can run.
Now you see Mike Adams in the game, second-round pick out of Ohio State. Here comes pressure on Batch. He gets it away quickly. Derek Williams has it. First down yardage before he's knocked down by Josh Thomas, number 15, with his third catch. And we talked about the Milan Classic coming up at South Point this week. Edmund and I were down there earlier this week, and first-round action is underway. And here's your leaderboard. Edward Lohr and Robert Streb, -7. Casey Wittenberg, you remember him, Edmund.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Kisner won the event in 2010. Will McKenzie, a familiar name. These are all guys with PGA Tour aspirations. You can watch them up close and personal at the Milan Classic down at South Point. 1st and 10, handoff again. It goes to Dwyer, nothing doing this time.
Dwyer trying to stretch it out, get out to the outside again. It's like Douglas Legursky, the backup center, is getting all the work today. Marquise Pouncey didn't play at all early on, and Legursky gets up limping. That's one of the guys, Bob, you want to keep healthy and make sure that he gets to the season healthy. But he's going to get his work in, so he's just going to have to do it today.
I want to talk about the roster composition with regard to David DeCastro here in a second. I'm going to get your thoughts on that. Second down for the Steelers. Paulson, the big tight end, 7th-round pick in motion. Batch fires, and it goes to Pope. And he gets it there in between a couple of defenders. Jordan Senn was there, but that's a nice completion from Batch to Pope.
Pope with a little redemption. He's not had the best game thus far, but the big guy getting out there using the body, and Charlie Batch. You know, all Charlie Batch does is complete passes and win games. You know, I don't know what the real deal is on the decision on him, but that's all he does. So if that's all you do, you would think that's a guy that you want to keep around. You know Charlie Batch has a future in coaching or something in NFL if that's what he chooses to do. But right now he is an extremely capable quarterback, as you see him run to the sidelines and now talking with Big Ben, trying to get some strategy going. But Charlie Batch, I think, Bob, is a guy that you want to keep around.
Well, he looks that way now. There's no doubt about it. He's 6 for his last 6. By the way, getting back to the offensive line, I mean, 2 players. This is a new rule that just came down today. 2 players on the active roster right now for the Steelers, DeCastro and Mendenhall, are weeks away from returning. There are no assurances about Harrison or Jason Worlds. You get one opportunity to put a guy on IR, and normally that means you're off for the year. Under this new rule, you get on the IR. You have to be on the 53-man roster, but you could come back after week number 6. So it's perfect for a guy like, I would think, DeCastro, or in Baltimore, Terrell Suggs, who expects to be back at some point.
Yeah, I think Terrell Suggs is one of the guys that's going to be like. I think DeCastro is the guy that probably has the greatest chance of getting that. Now, when did they make that rule? I heard you talking about that earlier, and you said it just like, I mean, isn't that kind of changing the rules of the game in the middle of the game? I mean, I didn't know that they could do that.
Well, they also moved back the trading deadline by 2 weeks from week 6 to week 8. 3rd and short, up the middle, tough yards right there, and I believe it's Johnson. Does he have it? He looks like he does on second effort perhaps, but there was a lot of beef right there at the line of scrimmage.
I love that call. I absolutely love that call. 3rd and short, mano-a-mano, preseason. We knock you off the ball or you knock us off the ball. Nothing fancy. We're not going to try to fake you out. We're going to run it right at you. Look at this. All this stuff, all that stuff going on in there. We're grunting everything. Everybody's trying to move stuff around. Guys leaning on one another, calling each other's names, grabbing at you, tugging on your shirt.
Look, he wouldn't stop either.
Oh,
Will
man.
Johnson, I think the second effort got it done.
That's great football right there. I love that.
Going to be close. I wouldn't be surprised if Todd Haley, Mike Tomlin go for it.
Why not? Absolutely. Why not? It's preseason.
It's preseason, exactly. These are the kinds of plays and these are the kinds of situations that the Steelers have been trying to focus on. When you know it has to happen, and you're just going to line up and outwill the other team.
Well, you know, the boss, Art Rooney III, says, look, we need to run the ball more effectively. Now, you can decipher that. You can break that down. You can do whatever you want to do, you know, say what that is. But in my opinion, what that means is when it's time to run the football, when it's time to possess the football, these are the kinds of plays you have to have.
Once again, it goes to Will Johnson. Keeps his feet moving. And again, it's a tough yard there. It all depends on where they spot a quick hitter to the fullback. Again, the turf comes up a little bit.
Look at that. Wow.
And this one looks like he got it, and he does. Signal by the official, and the Steelers get it on fourth down after failing on third.
Watch this, coming right at you. Just hand it off quick, right into the zero hole. Find a spot, and look at this. Look at all that dirt. Look at that. Very nice. Very nicely done. You know, the field looked beautiful, Bob, when I came out on. I guess it's not going to be so beautiful after this particular game.
Well, they got time to get it back.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think Pitt comes in.
Jimmy Sacco and the crew here who run this field so beautifully. Pitt comes in this week, and then Steelers don't play it for the second week against the Jets. And here comes Dwyer. Dwyer being pursued and hit really hard right there. Goes backwards. A nice play there coming up by R.J. Stanford from his cornerback position.
Play looked like it was designed to be an interior run or just off tackle. Nothing there. You see what Dwyer's looking at right there. There's the wall of players, so he's trying to bring it to the outside. Maybe that's
Holding.
one of the ones.
Offense.
Get up in there.
Number 69. Penalty is declined. Second down.
Get as much as you can get. A little holding called decline, Bob. Second and 10.
Well, that was a loss there. Yeah, Lee Ryan out of Furman got called. So far we've had one flag here in the second. A lot of them in the first quarter, 8 of them, as a matter of fact.
Now, is that the correct spot? I saw him go out of bounds. It looked like it was a 4 or 5 yard loss, and yet they spotted it back.
Penalty was on number 64.
Well, they switched it now. It was on Legursky. He just switched it. I agree. I thought it was a loss back at about the 47-yard line, looked like to me, but we'll see. Anyway, that's setting up a little. That's a screen to Leonard Pope, who stiff arms. He's not going to get away from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Carolina Panthers, who pursue him out of bounds. That didn't work.
Leonard Pope trying to get away, would not get away from big Thomas Kaiser. The quick screen, throwing a little tight stuff. Look at the big guy. 1 to the face, 2 to the face, trying to push him off. Get off me! Get off me! Not having any of that. Good pursuit by the Panthers.
All right, now you see Marquise Mays, number 3 in the game for the very first time. Get out of Alabama, undrafted, played for the 2-time national champions down there, the Tide. Batch on third down, long, he goes underneath to Batch. Batch to Batch at the 45-43. Look at Baron Batch continue to work after he got hit 1-2 times. Jordan Sen was there first. That's a nice game, but it's going to be short of the first down, and Drew Butler will try to pin him in their own 20.
You know, Baron Batch is not the biggest man in the world, but he doesn't mind a little contact, does he? Watch him. See if he tries to avoid anybody. Nope. Tries to run right over 2 people. Does a nice job of it, too. Good job there by Baron.
All right, this is something that we haven't seen a lot from Butler, but he's done it a few times, and field position is so important in this game. You want to get him pinned, and he does not do it that time. He goes into the end zone. That's a prime opportunity, and Butler's mad at himself right there. Punt of 41, he didn't want that. We'll take a break. Carolina back on offense when we return to Heinz Field. Heinz Field, 10-3 Steelers have the lead. Join us for the 24th annual Gatorade Steelers 5K race, fitness walk, and kids kickoff run this Sunday at Heinz Field. Benefits Art Rooney Scholarship Fund, honorary captains Chris Hoke and Aaron Smith, Steeler alumni. Register online, Steelers.com, or call 412-697-7713. Hopefully the remnants of Hurricane Isaac will stay away. It'll be a beautiful day for the 5K race. All right, Anderson remains in the game. 3 timeouts for both teams still intact. Anderson has it. Armani Edwards turns in, gets away from 2 would-be tacklers, and that's a nice gain there on the roll-in play.
Armani Edwards really showing that he's a very nice and established receiver, making some nice moves on the outside. Derek Anderson certainly doing what he needs to do as a backup quarterback.
That was a gain of 16. Inside handoff now, and that goes to Poole. Doesn't get much there, didn't fool anyone. Again, they have 3 timeouts. We're getting close to the 2-minute warning.
Wow, somebody got knocked out on the offensive line. You just see a body fly out of there. I don't know what defensive player was on there. Maybe a trip, but he just flew out of there right at the snap of the ball and landed on his tush.
All right, we've seen predictions and guarantees in sports. When we come back, we're going to tell you about one that
That's a 2-minute warning.
really was as far out there as you can get, provided by the Carolina Panthers and their starting center. We'll talk about that when we return. 2 minutes left in the half. Steelers up by 7. 10-3 Steelers have the lead. Roethlisberger not in action tonight. Charlie Batch has done a wonderful job here so far. They lead by 7. Carolina with the football, 2 minutes left. And we talked about Ryan Khalil, Edmund. He's the starting center for this team. He took out a full-page ad in the Charlotte Observer and said why the Carolina Panthers will win the Super Bowl this year. He guaranteed it, signed his name, full page. We'll talk more about that in a second. Anderson. Yes. That's taking it and putting it out there. There's no backing off. Pump fake. Anderson looks left, throws right. Has Turin Poole, gets around Spence. Trying to drag to the first down yardage. Spence recovers to get him by the shoestrings, but that's a nice effort there by Turin Poole.
Mistake there, Bob. Needed to get out of bounds, conserve some ticks on the clock. Clock is running. Not a very good play. You didn't really get a whole lot of yardage after that. Get to the out of bounds marker and save some time on the clock. Try to get your team a score.
Do you like predictions and guarantees?
I think he inserted his foot in his mouth. Nothing wrong with having some team spirit, but there's several ways to show that besides putting up a billboard or doing whatever you're doing and guaranteeing something that you guys haven't sniffed a Super Bowl in years.
All right, it's Anderson now. Up in the air. Keenan Lewis, does he keep his feet in or not? He picked up the ball, but looked like he got out of bounds. But nice play by number 23, who predicted this year that he might get to the Pro Bowl. Good goal, if you can attain it, opposite Ike Taylor.
Keenan Lewis is very solid. Odd that he's in here this late in the first half, but look at the coverage. He's right there, just a little bit. Stay on balance and tippy-tap. Oh, needed 1/2 a step. That would have been a pick going the other way.
Brad Nortman into punt. Again, he beat out Nick Harris, the 12-year vet. He was the only kicker ever drafted by the Panthers, and he was impressive. He's got a real booming leg. And Chris Rainey, who, in case you just joined us, has had 2 touchdowns returned tonight. Punt returns, both wiped out by penalty. This time he's not going to get a chance. He lets it bounce, and it goes all the way down to the 2-yard line. Back down there is R.J. Stanford, and he seemed to hit it 55 yards on the Nortman punt. We'll take a break. Steelers have a little over a minute left. See what they can do. All 3 timeouts intact. And yes, you see the ribs. You can smell them. If you had smell-o-vision, it's the Coors Light Kickoff and Rib Festival through Monday right here at Heinz Field. You got all the best rib vendors in the world. They're here. September 2nd, 5K race. September 3rd, a youth football camp. Rock superstar Uncle Kracker. Pitt plays here over the weekend. It's supposed to be a beautiful weekend. Come on out and enjoy the ribs. Savor the experience.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you were saying.
I know that.
I was watching them paint those ribs up.
All right, and Carolina jumps right offside. They jump on Batch, but the flags fly, and you can tell the voice inflection by Batch drew him offside.
Batch creating a little bit of turmoil.
Offsides. Defense, number 97.
With the inflection
5-yard
of the
penalty.
voice.
Repeat first down.
Now he has a little bit of working room. Watch him see if he has a head bob. Now they're going to start calling this if you have a head. There was a little bit of head bob. Did you see that? Did you see that, folks? That is not allowable, and yet they let that one go. Now that's probably something that a regular referee crew is going to pick up on. The quarterback is not allowed, Bob, to move anything or jerk anything the way he did. He's just supposed to be able to do it with the inflection of his voice.
Dwyer takes the handoff, going nowhere, straight up the middle. And you get the sense the Steelers are going to just let this thing run out. That was Jason Williams coming in and making the tackle right there.
Williams.
Yeah, they're pretty happy with that first half. You know, the unbelievable thing about this first half, Bob, is that they should be up, the Steelers, by, 21-3, 24-7, something like that. And they just really did not capitalize on those 2 runbacks by Chris Rainey. So they played a lot better than they actually wound up here at the end of the first half. But still a very good showing. I think a great showing by Charlie Batch.
No, he looked terrific, and still does. In the flat now, gets it out. Nice tackle there in the open field. That's Josh Thomas, who made it on Marquise Mays. And that
We have a timeout.
Well, they called a timeout.
Carolina.
Really?
That'll be a 30-second timeout.
Well, they may want to check out, see what they can do on a
Look at a return coming back here.
potentially, yeah. Otherwise, Ron Rivera doesn't look happy.
No, but I looked at Ron Rivera prior to play starting. He didn't look happy then either.
No.
So if he wasn't happy then, he's not happy now. But it's just a little bit pensive. But he knows he has a very high-powered offense. Got one of the best quarterbacks in the game, young quarterbacks. One of the faces, the new faces in the NFL. This guy's a happy guy. If he can get a team around him, if he can keep Steve Smith healthy, who's one of the best receivers in the league. You didn't hear a whole lot about Steve Smith this camp. Usually he's fought somebody by now and beat somebody up or something. That hasn't happened. But that guy right there, Cam Newton, is really something special.
What Steve Smith did do this year, and I applaud him for it, he donated $100,000 to the victims of the Aurora shooting out there in Colorado. A nice gesture by him as Dwyer takes it close to first down yardage, and it looks like Carolina will stop the ball one more time trying to set up a return. But you mentioned Newton. First overall pick.
Timeout.
What a rookie
Carolina.
year. I mean, he just did
Second timeout of the
706
half.
yards rushing,
That'll be a
14 rushing
30-second timeout.
touchdowns,
That's ridiculous.
21 passing touchdowns, 4,000 yards in his rookie
That is
season.
absolutely ridiculous. Those are unheard of numbers by a guy who many thought, one local Pittsburgh, as a matter of fact, thought that this guy couldn't play in the NFL. Thought he was a runner first, not a quarterback first. Didn't pay any attention to the comeback wins that he did with his arm when he was at Auburn and he played against the likes of South Carolina. He brought him back. He played against Georgia, brought him back. Played against Alabama, brought him back. And he brought him back with his arm, not necessarily his runs. And the national championship game, Bob, should have been a blowout, but for a couple of turnovers and some loose plays on defense, Auburn could have really blown those guys out. This guy has been a gamer since he stepped on the field at Auburn University, actually since he stepped on the field with Marquise Pouncey at the University of Florida. And, the Carolina Panthers are the guys that got to capitalize.
And he set that NFL rookie record for passing yards, eclipsing Peyton Manning from 1998. Here is Adams trying to get some yardage here on the final play of the first half across the 50. Stiff arms to the 45, 40, out of bounds, and that will bring us to the end, although we do have a penalty flag here, so we'll see. Or is it? Yeah, the one's on the field.
It may be a penalty, but everybody's running off.
If he's going to call him back now,
A little too late.
too late. They're gone.
And this is one of the parts, of course, Bob, where officials really need to take over. A veteran crew has this under wraps already. These guys a little bit tentative as to what's going on.
There's no point in making a call now.
No, at this point, it's like, okay, there's nobody on the field except some grounds crew.
And what do we have tonight? Frisbee dogs? We normally
We have
do
a
that.
personal foul on the play. During the kick.
Now he's calling. Everyone's in the locker room. Now they're all stopped.
And they may have to
See,
bring him back out.
they should have made this clear right at the very beginning. They kind of were dilly-dallying over there, and guys were already down in the tunnel. And they're coming back.
He's talking to Coach Tomlin, having a brief chat.
Personal foul. Carolina, number 81. That penalty will be declined. That's the end of the half.
Here we go.
You know what? Coach T has seen enough. All right. We've reached halftime, and we have a special announcement coming your way concerning our coverage. Casey Hampton got in the game tonight for the first time. Charlie Batch looked terrific. Emmanuel Sanders, 37 yards on an 80-yard drive. Chris Rainey, 2 punt returns for touchdowns, both wiped out by penalty. The Steelers take advantage of Sean Sweesum's leg from 49. 10-3 Steelers at halftime. We're back with more of the Xfinity halftime report here at Heinz Field. Bob Pompiani, Edmund Nelson, Chris Hoke in the booth, along with Jeff Rosella down on the field. It's 10-3 as the Steelers have the lead. And as we said, we have seen some great play here tonight by Charlie Batch. We told you his numbers, 11 for 14, 102 and a touchdown. But to me, 2 of the biggest plays where you'll never even see them in the box score.
Plays, yeah.
Chris Rainey, 78-yard punt return for a score, nullified by holding. A 90-yard punt return, nullified by holding. Mike Tomlin is standing by. Jeff Rosella is downstairs with him. Mike.
Thanks very much, Bob. Coach, first half impressions of your offense, specifically the play of Charlie Batch and Jonathan Dwyer, who got a lot of work.
They did some nice things. Obviously, we weren't perfect. We didn't score every time we had the ball, but some positive things to build on. I thought Jonathan ran with authority. I thought Charlie made some nice reads and nice throws.
A couple of splash plays by Chris Rainey in the first half. Unfortunately, penalties brought it back. Your impression?
You know, he did a nice job, but, you know, we're not going to pat ourselves on the back. There were flags on those plays, so they are what they are. But it is good to see that he can make unblocked people miss and create space for himself.
Here we sit in the final preseason game, the second half. What are you looking for? You still have the looking for work sign out?
Absolutely. We got to win the line of scrimmage. That's what the second half of this fourth preseason game is about, offensively and defensively. That's what we talked about in there at the half.
All right, thanks very much, Coach. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Bob, back up to you.
All right, Jeff, thanks very much. Mike Tomlin, one more half to go. And as I said, Edmund, big day tomorrow. 75 spots down to 53. 22 of these guys have got to be cut. And we'll find out as we check out these first half stats and your assessment of what you see. Sponsored by Hyundai. Edmund, what do you like?
Well, you know, the first thing I like is, you know, Coach not nearly being as impressed with your training as we are. I mean, it was just, don't you love head coach speak, right? Well, we're not too impressed with it. You know, he can do this, can do that. The Steelers pretty dominant offensively there. Time possession, 3 minutes or more. I mean, they just did what they needed to do. Charlie Batch really impressed me, but, you know, I can't say that he impressed me, Bob, because that's what I expect of Charlie Batch. And if the Steelers expect anything less, then he shouldn't be on the team. I think this is a great guy to keep around.
Those are your Hyundai stats. Brought to you by Hyundai, proud partner of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there is Batch, and, well, what can you say about the depth? As I said, that's the envy of the NFL, to have guys like this who've been around this long. Leftwich looked so good last week with the touchdown pass to Antonio Brown. You know what Ben can do, and boy, I tell you what, some teams are looking for whatever they could find.
Right, that's exactly right.
Waiver wires.
That's what, you know, that's a good point you make there, Bob. I was just about to say the same thing. You know, Charlie Batch may not be auditioning for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but guys around the league have to look at that offensive show that he put on in the first half and say, I don't know if this guy's going to clear 24 hours on the waiver wire.
There he is, the man who spent 11 years in his hometown after originally starting his career with the Detroit Lions, and he signed a big contract there out of Eastern Michigan. His 15th season. You might remember all the injuries too. He's overcome broken collarbones, leg injuries, shoulder injuries. He was a second-round pick way back in 1998, but he ages well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he said doesn't look like he looks like a young Charlie Batch to me. You know, we cringe every time he tries to run, but we do the same thing with Byron Leftwich. That brings up another point. Byron Leftwich is not a guy that has shown a propensity to play a full season. So what do? You almost have to have a third quarterback around somewhere.
We are underway, third quarter of the final preseason game. Joe Adams is going to take it out. He fumbled earlier, and he lost it to Curtis Brown, who left this game with an injury. Adams spinning away from coverage. Finally, he's wrapped up in another penalty flag flies, and all special teams, both sides having problems here tonight.
Guys were flying around. That's what you like to see. Your young guys flying around, throwing their bodies around, making sure that they corral that return man.
As we move along, too, we'll get you caught up on some of the stuff going on the PNC ticker. One of the things I want to tell you about is the fact that the Pirates, who are off today after really two good wins against St. Louis, back-to-back shutouts by McDonald and company, Wandy Rodriguez and company. Tonight, early on, Bryce Harper had a home run, and the Nats led St. Louis 2-0. I need to get a further update on that, but that would be good. The Pirates still alive and kicking as they head into September.
Yeah, you know, it's as Kutch goes, I think that team goes. If McCutcheon's bat wakes back up, then I think it's a no-brainer that the Pirates are going to make the playoffs. They got a lot of work to do.
And pitching, too. That pitching's got to be as good as it was the last couple of days. New quarterback Jimmy Clausen out of Notre Dame. The handoff goes to Armand Smith, being dragged down by Corbin Bryant, number 91, who's trying to make this roster. He's in a battle with Al Woods. And the one thing going for Bryant is he's undrafted, which means he's practice squad eligible.
Yeah, Brandon Johnson getting some penetration there, but overran the play or underran it, as it were. And then you see Al Woods trying to get in there, big number 91 also, Corbin Bryant, getting a piece.
See, that's one way you could look at a roster. I mean, you see Al Woods. He's a veteran. He's, you know, originally a fourth-round pick in New Orleans, been in the league for 3 years. He can make the roster, and a guy like Bryant could be on the practice squad if need be. Once again, it's Smith. This time Cortez Allen goes high and misses the tackle for Marty Smith, runs him out of bounds. But if Cortez Allen had that to do over, he would go lower, I think. There's a penalty flag once again on the play.
Cam Hayward loses a shoe. He's got to come to the sidelines to put that thing on. Usually, Bob, you see guys that are waived and put on the practice squad that are not named commodities, you know, and Al Woods, just like you say, is a guy that's known around the league. He's a pretty good football player, has shown flashes in this preseason, and you're right, could very well make the team. You don't want to cut him, release him, because you could lose him over the waiver wire.
Face mask, defense, number 28, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Cortez Allen went up high, and he went too high, got a piece of the face mask.
Let's see if he grabs it right here. Oh, yeah, right there. Got a piece. Got a good piece of it, too. Let him go. But it's not the garden variety face mask. They gave him the full 15.
Jimmy Clausen at a quarterback out of Notre Dame. He was once thought of as the man who's going to be their all-future quarterback back in 2010, a second-round pick. He was expected to be a top 10 pick. That never happened. He fell to 16th of the second round. Sam Bradford was in that draft. Tim Tebow was in that draft.
He was one of those guys that was kind of sitting around. You kind of start feeling bad for him. You know, they bring him there to go in the first round, and the next thing you know, first round's gone, and he's still kind of sitting around there. It's a bit embarrassing, actually.
Tyrone Poole with short yardage there, and there is Clausen right now. He's a third stringer on this team. For his career, too, just 3 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and 9 fumbles lost in 13 games. Actually, 2 lost, 9 fumbles. He's not hanging on to the football a lot in key situations.
Which is probably why he's third team. But, you know, he's still in the NFL, and while you're still here, Bob, there's always hope. Sometimes it takes a little longer to develop than others.
Clausen rolling right, finding his man, and that's a first down as it goes to Joe John Finley out of Oklahoma.
Well executed naked boot by Clausen. He fakes and he comes out the other way all by his lonesome. Receiver also is running all by his lonesome. It's a nice completion there.
13 yards on the completion, and it's first down at the Steelers' 37-yard line.
It's a fun time of the game, Bob. These guys are fighting. Everybody you see on this field right now is fighting for a paycheck in the NFL.
Play action by Clausen. Good protection, throws, nice coverage by Allen. The penalty flag flies, and that's on Polaris. And, you know, one of the things, Edmund, we have not seen a lot of pass interference calls by these replacement officials. I think that needs to change.
Well, if you watch Cortez Allen here, this may be a case of the feet getting tangled up. You see him right up here at the top. Let's see what happens. He's just breaking on the ball. There's no hands on him. Their feet just get tangled, and he's allowed to go after the football.
Pass
I think, in my opinion, poor
defense
call.
number 28. Penalty being forced from the spot of foul. Automatic first down.
But they've let a lot of that go, you know, early in this preseason. And I think typically the guys who've been here for a long time, the regular refs are not going to let that stuff go. So that's
right.
An advantage, certainly, to an offensive team.
Well, I think as we talked about early in the preseason, you know, the mandate was, look, call less. Less is more. Let the games be played. Let's get this thing going. Let the season get going. And then as your comfort level increases, maybe start making some of those calls. That call, in my opinion, however, was the incorrect.
All right, it's Clausen now on first down. Has pressure, and he is just written over by Chris Carter. Nothing blue. It's a loose ball. The Steelers apparently have it. Cam Hayward out of bounds. And we'll see what they call, but there was nothing called. I thought maybe it would be incomplete. Clausen got bull rushed by Chris Carter. The ball came loose. Hayward picked it up.
They'll be looking at that one again. I thought his arm was going forward as he was hit. There was no whistle. The ball was live. We'll see what the call is, and we'll see whether a red flag hits the ground.
The ruling on the field is a fumble.
No flag there. Let's take a look at it here. Is his arm going forward? 1, 2, 3. Yes, it was going forward, but you know, he wasn't in the grass. I think they have to allow that one. There was a receiver in the area.
Previous play is under review.
Yeah, and it's going to be overturned also because he did make the passing motion. Right?
It looks like it's a pretty easy call, but they had the challenge.
No doubt about it. There was no whistle, so you knew it was a live ball, but I was surprised because I saw the motion myself. We'll see what they say when they come back. 10-3 Steelers still lead third quarter. Bob Pompiani, Edmund Nelson, Jeff Rosella with you as you see the official under the hood, 10-3, and the NFL has said they will open with replacement officials and will use them as much as necessary. Negotiations still at a standstill. Referees Association locked out in June. We'll see what happens, but what do you think here, Edmund?
Well, the arm is definitely going forward, but what you're trying to see is there a receiver over in that direction? And there is. You're going to see it in another replay here. That's great work by Jim Edmonds and the crew. Bill Schishler, the producer, taking a nice close look at it. Here
ruling on the field will be reversed. It is an incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd and 10 on the 22-yard line.
That was a relatively easy call.
Please reset the game clock to 12:36.
Yep, there is a receiver where he's looking, albeit he probably could not catch this ball because he was on the ground, but there was a receiver over there, and as you can see,
Yeah, it was Armand Smith.
If you look at the top of your screen, well, here he is right here. There's the receiver, so he is in the area. Now, if you're looking to see what's going to happen there, he pump fakes, and then he does throw it. Now, was he throwing at anything? No, he's pretty much throwing it at the ground. But you can't make a case for grounding at that point, and the call was certainly fumbled. So you have to reverse that.
Well, keep in mind, there will be expanded use of instant replay as a tool this year, including all scoring plays, just like last year, and all turnovers this year as well. All right, Clausen under center with another chance on second down now after the reversal. He gets it away, looking into the end zone, and has a man, but nice coverage right there by the Steelers. Terrence Frederick, the 7th-round pick out of A&M.
Terrence Frederick showing that he wants to belong. He wants to hang around. Let's go see him. Look at him work his body into the receiver. Look at that. Turns around, tries to find the ball. You can't call interference with it because he's making a play on the ball, got his hands up. That's nearly textbook for the 7th rounder.
All right, we have a new Panther in there, and he's a very interesting story. Number 9, I'll tell you about him after the break. This is a 3rd down play now, and it's Clausen looking right, throwing, has Armani Edwards. Edwards now jumping in close to the goal line. He has first down yardage before he's tripped up there, and it'll be marked at the 5-yard line. And that's a nice slant pattern, which goes for a first down.
No one anywhere in the general vicinity of Armani Edwards. You wonder how that happens. The young guys have to get on the same page with their coverage. Number 35, Josh Victorian, probably victimized on that particular play, but Armani Edwards is out there by himself, and all it was just a little crossing route.
All right, 1st and goal for the Panthers now. In the red zone, and they hand off. It is Teron Poole. He gets down to the 1-yard line. A lot of pads popping. As you saw, number 9 got into the game the last play. I mean, it's interesting because you may have played with his father. That's Jared Green, son of Hall of Famer and 20-year Redskin Darrell Green, one of the fastest men ever in the history of the game. Green Speed likes to call himself. That's Poole being knocked down, but you know,
as I recall, 15 years in the league, and Darrell Green was still one of the fastest guys in the league.
And his son Jared, who presented him for induction, said he still has the legs. Here's a handoff now. Once again, the Steeler defense. Al Woods there, along with Chris Carter, who's been everywhere, and they stop him for a loss.
Chris Carter understands that there are 2 guys that they're bringing back to take his job. So what he needs to do is make sure that he's showing up and showing up big. He needs to play. This is much better at the point of attack. Look at the big guys. Look at the push. Look at Alamed Ta'amat. Unbelievable. This guy has had a rough camp, and he just pushed everybody back there. What do you think about that, Chris? Hokey Pokey sitting here next to me. He says he's all right with that.
All right, it's 3rd down. Spread formation now. Number 9, Jared Green is in the game. We'll see what happens here. Steelers trying to protect their lead now. Clausen looking right, throwing, and he goes for Green, who has it for the touchdown. Jared Green, the son of Redskin great Darrell Green. First touchdown of the preseason, and Carolina is about to tie this game.
After all of that, this ball was put right where it needed to be put. The only place the receiver could get it, nobody else could touch it. Little out right here. You got to get up close on him. There's no room on the goal line. That's the red zone. Get up on him. Just a little bit too easy for Jimmy Clausen. Little out route. Nothing going on right there.
Justin Medlock on to attempt a point after, and this will tie the game. The lefty gets it up and in. And so it's Jimmy Clausen. By the virtue of a reversal in the replay department, takes advantage of that, goes to Darrell Green. And it's 10-10 in Pittsburgh. We're back. Carolina ties the game. Clausen to Green, 10-10, 3rd quarter. And it's going to be the Steelers with the ball, and this time it's David Gilreath back deep. And this is a guy who's vying for that 5th receiver spot along with Derek Williams. And one thing about this guy, he is a special teams whiz at Wisconsin. 135 kickoff returns for over 3,000 yards. And he was undrafted, all-time Big Ten kickoff champion. So this guy knows what he's doing. And special teams, a big asset if you're a young guy, because you know to be a 5th receiver, you're going to have to play special teams. Here comes the kick by Medlock. And we'll see what Gilreath can do with it. Maybe nothing because it's out of the end zone again with a strong leg. So Pittsburgh goes back on offense. And when we come back, Chris Hokey Pokey back in the booth with us as well. We'll be back to Heinz Field after this. Field, 50,122 on hand for the final preseason game. It's a 10-10 game, third quarter, as the Steelers go back on offense, and Gerard Johnson is on the field, a young quarterback, and he's on the field. Chris Hokey Pokey joins Edmund Nelson and me here in the booth as we get your expert analysis now that you're up here.
That's right.
Edmund's a seasoned vet now. You're going to get a chance to do this with Edmund.
Oh, Hokey, man. You know,
I'll tell you what,
is there any chance?
with all your knowledge, I am so excited to be up here with you and learn about this game of football.
Is there any chance we can get you to do the Hokey Pokey at some point? At some point.
Let's see, man. What's what kind of money you got?
Aaron Batch up the middle. Not much there. I see number 76-year-old number now belongs to Mike Adams. He's in the game again. What's your impression of Mike Adams, second-round pick out of Ohio State?
Well, I'll tell you what. I watch this guy, and he does a really good job in the run game. Watch him knocking people off the line of scrimmage, really solidifying that edge and that run game. It's got a little work to do with that speed off the edge in the passing game. You know, he got beat a couple of times in those games, and, you know, it just takes time getting used to that speed.
Hokey, you've been in this situation, man, where these guys out here are fighting for their jobs. Give us some insight as to, you know, what's going through their minds because, you know, you only get so many opportunities. You know how Mitch, you know, Coach John Mitchell always told you guys, look, you only get so many opportunities. You only get so many opportunities in snaps in practice. You're only going to get so many plays. This is their time. What's going through these guys' heads as they're trying to get an NFL paycheck?
Well, number one, just go out there and do your job. You know, you got a job to do. Each guy on that offensive line, each guy out there right now at their positions got a job to do. Make sure you do your job. And then the one thing you want to do is you want to stand out. Whether it's a pancake offensive line, whether it's a big splash play, run, pass catch, whatever, offensively. Defensively, making a big play, causing a fumble, something to catch an eye.
Third down now for Gerard Johnson. In the shotgun, he's going to go back to pass. Steps up in the pocket. A wobbly pass goes over the head of Wesley Saunders, the tight end, who will be suspended for the first 4 games of the season until he returns to the roster. That's now 1 for 9 on third down. There's Saunders.
Hokey, I was talking to Mitch the other day, man, about you because I told him you were going to be with us and stuff, and he told me a story about you. He says, you know, to his last year in the league, so it's 10, 11 years, 11 years. He said you'd be the first guy in, right? You'd already have reviewed the film, and you go and you say, Coach Mitch, now tell me what I did wrong. You know, I pointed out these couple of things over here and now. This is what I got. Tell me what you got.
That's what I did. You know, I always went in the morning. I watched the film. I broke it down myself, and I kind of wanted to see, before I went and saw him, what I could have done better. And then I went and asked him, and hey, Coach, this is what I'm seeing. What do you think? And it was a great process.
That's why you hung around for 11 years, buddy.
We'll take a break. Be back with more right after this. Back at Heinz Field, 10-10, 8:59 left third quarter. Hey, just a program note for you guys. Make the switch to the CW as we get close to the top of the hour. 10 o'clock coverage of the Steeler game will shift from KDK-TV to Pittsburgh CW due to CBS coverage of the Republican National Convention. You can find Pittsburgh CW on Comcast Channel 15, HD 808, Verizon Channel 3, HD 503, Armstrong Cable Channel 6, HD 110. We'll have full coverage of the Republican National Convention as Jimmy Clausen gets rolled out, and there's Robert Golden. He had an interception return last week, and they like him, don't they, gentlemen? This is a guy who really has opened some eyes, I think, in this camp.
You know, you can always use another body that can get down there on special teams, need a defensive back to come in there, maybe a nickel guy that can play safety. He's a very versatile guy, has some speed, put some pressure on there. Hey, Hokey, Clausen's got to get some white in those socks, man. What's wrong with him?
He does. I'll tell you what, they're really excited about Golden. He's doing some good things, making splash plays like I talked about, and he's making a big argument for that spot.
There's a handoff to Armand Smith. He has some blockers to the outside, and that's a nice tackle right there by Marshall McFadden, who comes up from his linebacker position. Marshall McFadden out of South Carolina State.
Hokey, how much of his defense is Coach LeBeau going to show these guys towards the end of this game? I mean, is he going to pretty much have an open playbook, or is it pretty much like, look, we're going to play base, let's go out there and get after it?
Here's the thing, I think it's a lot of base, Edmund. I mean, a lot of these guys don't know all those blitzes. You know, they're learning them, but everything's happening so fast.
Right.
And so Coach LeBeau's going to keep it pretty basic because he wants them to be able to go up and just play and not be thinking and see what these guys can do.
Third down now for Jimmy Clausen, who has a touchdown pass here to Jared Green. Nice pressure, a nice pocket and an interception almost there by Cortez Allen, who's all over Polaris in the flat over there. Nice play. I thought he's been very good so far in this camp, number 28.
Hey, Cortez Allen has been playing good this whole camp, and I know they're really excited about him as well, and he just keeps getting better and better each day, and so he's going to have a huge impact on the defensive side of the ball this season.
Yeah, I like Cortez. He's been coming along, you know. at his own pace, but he's been really progressing, got great speed, can play out there on an island.
All right, here's the punt now, and back is David Gilreath. He'll hopefully get a chance to show off his talent here, but maybe not as this punt goes out of bounds. Not a lot of returns so far in this preseason, either kicks out of the end zone or along the sidelines, but we did see Chris Rainey, in case you missed it, twice in the first half. Mr. Electrifying. Edmund and I have been amazed with that guy, and I want to get your take on it, Chris Hokey Pokey, when we come back to Heinz Field. It's a 10-10 game, third quarter. Everyone, 10-10 game. Don't forget to join the Steelers and the Post-Gazette for the First and Goal promotion. Get to Heinz Field early and you could win big prizes. The first 25,000 fans get scratch and win cards that could win you valuable prizes. It's the First and Goal promotion. Steelers now trying to get close to that. They have a long way to go right now in a 10-10 game with Gerard Johnson under center. A lot of roster positions need to be defined. Baron Batch has one, makes a nice cut right there. He gets pretty good yardage. One thing I've learned about him is he's not just fast, but he can go in between the tackles and get some stuff done.
Yeah, I saw him, Bob, in a one-on-one pass rush drill. He's protecting, and they had the linebackers coming full speed. You know this drill, Hoagie? They just got these guys lining up, and it's just them in the back. And I tell you what, he held his own. And as you know, Hoagie, he's not a big guy.
He's not a big guy. Very stout on those blitz pickups. You know, I really like this guy. Great guy, personality, but also hard work, a good football player.
Does he remind you any of Mewelde Moore?
He does. You look at him right now on the field. He looks like him. He runs like him. I think if he makes the team, he's going to be a great addition.
Second down. Johnson again to Batch. Up the middle, following his blocking. Not much there. Broke down. Good play there by Carolina, including number 26 you see there. And it's a very interesting story. A kid named DJ Campbell. He got 39 scholarship offers, but he has a tough background. At 6 years of age, his mother was shot and killed by his father in a domestic dispute. His dad convicted of involuntary manslaughter, spent 13 years in prison, but he's since been released, and they've taken, the road back. Perhaps he's forgiven his father, but just a tough. He also wears a chain around his neck, has the inscription, "A mother's love is forever," and he's trying to make the roster, and he's come a long way.
That is one amazing story and one amazing young man.
Batch to the outside, makes a nice move there on Stanford to pick up some extra yardage and gets first down. Let's go downstairs. Jeff Rosella standing by with number 99, Brett Kiesel.
Thanks very much, Bob. Brett, 11th season now. You're one of the elder statesmen. You feel like you're slowing down at all?
Not at all. I feel like I'm getting younger. I feel like since I've been growing my beard, I'm only 4 years into this thing now. So I feel great. It's great to come play with these young guys. They're clowning around. They make me feel young again.
With all the turnover in the offseason, some of the guys gone. Aaron Smith's not here. Chris Hoke, who we saw in the booth at halftime. James Ferrier. Do you feel like bigger leadership roles on your shoulders this season?
Absolutely. Losing some of our great leaders, like you mentioned, Hines, Aaron, James, those guys were what made Steelers tick. And, I want to be that guy these guys can look up to on and off the field.
The expectations for this defense are always high with Coach LeBeau. Are you guys still an elite defense even with all the turnover?
I think so. I think we could be really special this year on defense as a team. I was telling some guys earlier, I don't know if I've seen as much young talent on this team that we have this year. So I'm excited. There's a lot of expectations. We want to get back to New Orleans and bring the trophy back home.
And finally, the beard is certainly in mid-season form already, even though we haven't started the regular season.
Yeah, it's going to get out of control once the snow starts falling here in the Berg, but had to start it early this year for luck. We'll see where we go.
Your son is 3 weeks old, by the way. Does he have a 5 o'clock shadow yet?
Not yet. He's my 4-year-old son. He's starting to grow a beard, though.
All right, thanks very much, Brett. Bob, back up to you.
By the way, Jeff, he shaved this morning. That's what happened just 9 hours later.
He did.
And the other thing, Chris, I want to ask you, because I once found a piece of chicken in that beard that had been there for maybe 2 months.
Hey, you weren't there for that pregame meal when I saw a chipmunk peek out of that beard one time.
Edmund, do you ever try that kind of beard, or no?
I actually have a full beard. I get shadow and big time, but it ain't nothing. It's not nearly as impressive as that.
Armani Edwards back, and he is swarmed over. Good coverage there by the Steelers special teams. And Amos Jones has to be happy with that. Hicks down there fast, along with number 46 there, Robinson.
You take a look at Brett Kiesel, the ageless one. This guy's been around a long time. Coach Mitchell told me Hokie, that this was one of his best camps ever.
Let me tell you something. Brett gets better every single year. I mean, I remember when he got him in as a starter. When Kimo left, he came in, and it seems like every single day, Brett, there's no cap on him getting better. It's awesome to see.
All right, Carolina now in a 10-10 game has the ball at the Steelers' 26-yard line. Jimmy Clausen, who has a touchdown pass in this half to get the equalizer, goes to Armand Smith, who's quick to the left side. Now he's hit hard there by Cromartie Smith, but he does get first down yardage.
Did my eyes deceive me there, or did I see Sean Spence playing right outside linebacker on that particular play? Maybe that was where he was. Did I see that right, Hokie?
You did. You saw him out there right outside linebacker.
So they're showing some versatility for the young fella already, huh? Inside and outside, being able to play both. Well, he's back in the middle there. He must have been out there on a blitz or something.
Speaking of linebackers, I want to get you guys' opinion on the fact that they normally keep like Victorian and Golden, but you also got Jason Worlds, who's sort of a question mark with a wrist injury. Don't know if he's going to be ready. So therefore, guys like Brandon Johnson, Adrian Robinson, these are guys who still might make the roster or not.
Well, you know, you have to have versatility at the linebacker position, and you have to have guys that can play more than one spot. If you're going to keep an extra body, it's going to be a linebacker as opposed to maybe another, because these are guys that are special on special teams and make a lot of calls. They have to be guys that can run, and they have to be big enough to maybe take some punishment. Those two guys, Worlds and Harrison, you don't know how durable they're going to be during the year. You know, you got Chris Carter, who started every single game in the preseason. He has to make the team. What do you think, Okie?
Well, here's the thing. You know, they want to keep Lawrence Timmons in the middle. They don't want to put the outside linebacker in. If you're going to keep a young guy in the linebacker core, right now they're trying to see who can play where, outside linebacker, inside guy, because they're going to have to be very multidimensional on that defense, you know, playing linebacker, because they want to keep Lawrence and Larry Foote in the middle, and we're going to see what's going to happen with those other guys.
Yeah, I've been watching Chris Carter. Me and Bob have talked about him all year, and he's a solid player, but he's not nearly as strong as he needs to be playing out there, especially when he gets a big guy on him.
Yeah.
And then also, you know how James Harrison, we get spoiled with the way he can really pinch a corner. You know, he can lower that shoulder, and he plays with great leverage. He can really shorten that corner and get there. You just don't see that in a Chris Carter being able to come around the edge, and yet he does what he does very well.
He does what he does very well. He's gotten better. This guy put on some weight in the offseason. He's holding that edge a lot better than he was last year in camp. I think there's a lot of potential with Chris Carter. But like you said, we are spoiled with Lamar Woodley and James Harrison. Those guys hold that edge so tough that it's hard to run the ball outside on those guys.
I accidentally bumped into Lamar Woodley the other day. I thought I ran into a wall. Is he 280 pounds? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and he's in good shape.
Yeah, and he's on the cover of World Magazine, too, the outstanding local magazine. He looks good. There's a drop right in the hands of Gary Barnage, and you don't need that if you're trying to make a roster. He is 2008 fifth-round pick originally, back out of the University of Louisville, but that's one he should make.
Yeah, those are the kind of things that you don't want to have in the fourth final preseason game.
Yeah, Lamar's got a great suit on, looking good. Who's the best dressed guy in the locker room, Chris?
Oh, there's a lot of guys I think they're the best dressed, Bob. But
he said think they're the best dressed.
Well, maybe
they're the best dressed.
From now that you can observe, you know, from afar, who's the best dressed?
I would say, well, it used to be Hines Ward. He dressed nice.
Farrier used to.
You know, Ike Taylor, he dresses. Ryan Clark dresses real nice as well, Bob.
All right, we got a timeout here on a
Delay of
35.
game. Offense.
Actually, a delay of the game.
5 yards.
on the
Repeat the down.
offense. What do you think about this division, Edmund, Chris? You got the Steelers, the Ravens look good again. You know, Joe Flacco seems to get better and better every year. This defense will be tested against that team. There were so many big plays last year. Also Cincinnati with two young guys, with Dalton and Green.
I think Cincinnati's a couple of years away. I'm not too worried about what's happening up in Cleveland. Their first rounder, Richardson's a little bit jammed up. But I think that the Ravens go as Suggs goes, and he's out. And I think that opens the door for the Steelers to really be dominant in this AFC North.
I think you're right, Ed. I think with Terrell Suggs being out, they're still going to have a good defense. I don't know if they're going to have a great defense like they have in the past, which is going to be good for the Steelers, because you know what Terrell Suggs does when he comes out and plays the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I mean, just absolutely, completely disruptive.
Sean Spence down.
No. And he's writhing in pain. Bob, he's just out there by himself.
He really is in pain. A third-round pick out of Miami and a guy they have high hopes for.
Those are the kind of things you hate to see in a preseason game.
Well, that's football. Hoagie, you played a long time. I played and observed a long time, and that's just something that you just cannot stand.
See what happened.
Here you go, folks. He's coming in. Sean is right here.
Right there.
Right there. Extended, hyper-extended.
Oh.
Ouch.
Man.
Ouch.
Just got caught up in the turf and just. That's not what you want to see. For a team that's already gone through so many injuries with David Johnson, David DeCastro, we saw last week in Buffalo in that turf there. This is natural grass. Guys prefer this. That was just one of those weird things, and Mike Tomlin cannot be happy with that.
Just getting overextended, hustling, nice blitz up the middle, and it's tough to see something like this happen.
Especially this late into the game, basically 2 minutes left, a quarter left in the preseason. Kid they have, like I said, I think he's looked very good, very strong.
He's looked very good, and I'll tell you what, he probably won't see a lot of snaps this year on defense. Hopefully he's going to be okay, because I think they're counting on him to be big in the special teams.
Well, you can see the reaction out there, guys. Normally when guys are on the field like that, that's not at all good.
Yeah, and here comes a truck, which is not a good sign at all either. Sean Spence, you could tell he was very agitated and in a lot of pain as he went to the ground. And you can see the love that his teammates have for him. At this kind of time, Hoagie, all the guys kind of surround him and kind of give him whatever they can, kind of give him some support, let him know they love him.
That's right. I mean, that's one of the things that, I love about sports. You go to training camp, you spend a lot of time together, and in the season you spend more time with your teammates than you do with your family. Mm-hmm. You really become close. You become like brothers, and you can see out there the support he's got. They know this could be serious, and so they're supporting him right now.
Well, and this is a playmaker we saw at Miami. Last year 10.5 sacks over his career, 47 tackles for loss. He's fast. He gets, laterally, side to side very well, and man,
got a nose for the ball, Bob.
I know some people will say he is a rookie. Why is he in there so late? You got to play somebody here at this point. They have a lot of guys on their roster, but.
I mean, you got to play him.
Hadn't had an opportunity to get a lot of snaps. It's just like what we were talking about earlier. And now's your time to get your snaps, because when the season gets here, you might not get that many. All your snaps may come on special teams. You just don't know. So you got to get your snaps in when you get in. And unfortunately, this is the kind of thing that can happen. It's just the nature of the game, and you have to deal with it. He's a young kid. He'll bounce back for that, I'm sure. But for this to happen and the timing of it is just horrible for him.
Sean Spence got caught up in the grass, and you can see how the hyperextension, very severe.
Looks like they're going to stabilize that leg.
It's one of those air casts.
Yeah, they're going to stabilize and make sure they can have any further damage to it. Get him in there, take a look at him.
Have you ever had an injury like that?
I had hurt my knee back in a Green Bay game in preseason. I don't know, 6-7 years ago. Willie Gay came in for a tackle, and I was holding a double team, and he swung around and took out my left knee. And I just, had some bruising, and I had some sprain, and luckily it wasn't that bad. And that's what you got to pray for right here, is that just, it's not as bad as it's looking right now.
Fairly good news with DeCastro when he went down last week. It looked horrible on film, and yet not nearly as severe. Maybe one of those guys that they bring back. Hopefully this is the same type of situation, but
well,
you certainly feel for the young linebacker.
Yeah, DeCastro had played so well, and MCL, patella, and a kneecap surgery this week. We still don't know exactly when he'll be back, which is why I say the special rule today. That was an IR rule that you can take a guy off after 6 weeks. He seems to be perfect for that. We'll wait and see, and we'll have Mike Tomlin's reaction tonight at 11 on KDK TV Sports. So hang around. We'll see. Maybe we can get an update from Jeff right now. But whatever the case, it just looked horrible.
And you see the coach out there. I mean, Mike Tomlin was out there with this guy. That, every time you see something like this happen, Mike is out there along with the teammates, wishing well. He's the last guy to leave the cart, and the coach knows what he has lost right there, and he's very concerned.
That's one of the things I love about Coach Tomlin. This guy is a player's coach. He pushes us hard. He pushes each individual. But at the end of the day, Coach Tomlin cares about you, and you see it in stuff like this.
You can see it in his face. Sean Spence out of Miami of Florida, and a third-round pick for this team here in 2012. And so we mentioned injuries to Harrison and Worlds. You know, Stevenson Sylvester's also a guy who's been out with an injury as well.
Yeah.
So who knows when he'll get back.
Yeah, that linebacker core has really been hit hard with injuries, and you're hoping, you know, you can start getting some guys back.
All right, we have a field goal attempt now for Carolina as we resume play. We'll see how good this leg is from Medlock. It's 56 yards. And it's no good. That's the tough end, even though on a beautiful night it shouldn't come into play. Sean Sweetsham hit one from 49 to the open end of the stadium, and that Medlock 56-yarder is no good. So we remain tied with 1:53 left, third quarter.
It's at this point in the game when guys are sitting around like, okay, let's get this preseason
That's
over
right.
with. Let's get it in the clubhouse. Let's get, you know, the cuts made. Let's get on to the regular season. Hokie, give me your opinion on this. 18-game season, 2-game preseason. Certainly with the injuries that we've observed so far, would you say that these injuries are a case for that?
I don't know, Ed. I mean, I think that you know, you're still going to be playing 20 games. You know, those things are just freak plays, like what just happened to Sean Spence, what happened to Castro getting rolled up like that in the end zone on that pass protection. Those things are going to happen in any game, and it's just part of playing football, like you said earlier. I don't think that, you know, a preseason game compared to a regular season game is going to make a difference.
You'll see probably more in regular season games, especially if they're 18 instead of 16. And by the way, that means all three first picks this year, Adams, DeCastro, and now Spence, have had knee injuries. Thankfully, the one to Adams originally in that Philadelphia game was not that bad. He's been able to return. Gerard Johnson returns to the field now in his quest to make this roster. There's a handoff going absolutely nowhere right now to the new running back, Dwan Harris, who was picked off waivers from Jacksonville just this week. Ladies and gentlemen, this third quarter, sponsored by PNC for the Achiever in you. 3rd and 8 as we get close to a minute.
Time of the game when, you know, both coaches know what the situation is, and I think you're probably going to see the ball on the ground a lot here to get this thing over with. Yeah, you're going to try to get some look at some young guys, but I can't see a whole lot of passing going on here in the last bit of this game.
Yeah, you know, and each coach right now is holding his breath. They don't want to see any more injuries.
You have it here. Johnson goes in the flat and he goes to the new guy. Gets out of bounds. Knocked there by DJ Campbell. Dwan Harris out of Troy University, just picked up this week. They cut Ford, who I thought was pretty good. Jason Ford built low to the ground, had some pretty good runs, but it's tough business, man. You see how many great athletes are available in college, and yet how many? What's the percentage? 1-2% make it to this level.
It's tough, you know, when they start counting numbers. Only so many guys can make it.
This guy's been good. Drew Butler, good hang time, another fair catch, no return. Armani Edwards fields it. We have not seen Jeremy Kapanos, who's been out with a back injury, but this kid has made a name for himself, I think. If not here, someplace else, 37 yards, absolutely no return.
Well, now, would you go through an entire preseason with a punter that has done a nice job, and then all of a sudden the regular season get here and you bring Kapanos back? I mean, to me, that move just really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Could happen, but, you know, Chuck Knowles saying still rings true today. You can't make the club in the tub. You know, so
that's a tough situation because Kapanos has been good. You know, I feel bad for Daniel Sepulveda, who's a talented kid out there, and wish him well. He's been having, you know, 3 ACL problems.
And Kapanos got the job because Sepulveda couldn't stay healthy.
And you never know. It's a long season. A lot of guys out there looking for work. Pilares back in the game, 81, as the handoff goes straight ahead to Armand Smith. McFadden chases, can't get him. Cortez Allen runs out of bounds after a gain of 10 yards. And you hear those pads still popping. These are guys really squarely on the bubble. If that's possible, be squarely on a bubble.
Yeah, and these guys,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, these guys know it. You know, they're out here right now fighting for their lives, their professional lives. I mean, they've been dreaming about making this team since they were kids, and this is their one opportunity to go out there and make something happen and show the coaches that they belong here.
That's going to be it for the third quarter. Chris Hoke, we appreciate your time up here. Look forward, as I said, welcome you aboard for KDK TV Sports coverage.
Hokie, you're natural,
That's the
buddy.
end of
You're
the third
natural.
quarter.
Welcome to the team, man.
All right, we're at the end of 3. That was a reversal that led to a touchdown. Chris Carter has been good. Here is that touchdown to Jared Green. It's 10-10 after 3. We'll be back with fourth quarter action after this. Thanks, bro. We're back. Bob Pompiani along with Edmund Nelson, Jeff Rosella, Chris Hoke just left, and that's a blue moon, right? We've had 2 of those in a month.
Yeah, it doesn't happen all the time. It's very rare, in fact.
Wow, some miscommunication with his receiver. The only person close there is Josh Victorian as it falls incomplete. All right, so the regular season is virtually upon us. Steelers open at Denver. There is the blue moon, and don't sing, Edmund, although you have a good karaoke voice. I've heard it. But is that a good time to play Denver with Peyton Manning? We saw him the other day in preseason actually look very sharp. I would prefer playing early than late because I think if he gets some mojo going, that could be tough in week 10 as opposed to the opener.
Yeah, I think that the guys are really, no Ryan Clark. He's not going to play up at the altitude, of course, with the problems that are well documented that he has. So that's going to be a tough game for the Steelers. But I think also it's going to be a tough game for the Denver Broncos. Peyton Manning, yes, he's played in the preseason, but that's another speed. When game speed hits you, regular season game speed, that's a whole different animal. And let's face it, Peyton Manning hasn't played a regular season game in a very, very long time. We'll see if he's ready. He certainly looked like he was ready last week, but it's a whole different thing. And I think the Steelers are going to be ready. Injuries aside, Bob, the Steelers will be ready to play that game. And remember what happened the last time they were out in Denver. They have something to play for.
There's no question about it. 11 seconds into overtime. Tim Tebow, Demaryius Thomas gets by Ike Taylor. Ike Taylor, more than anybody, is looking forward to that game, I am sure. Short gainer there. And getting back to what we were talking about with Chris about the AFC North. We know about the Ravens, although Suggs is out. He was the Defensive Player of the Year last year. Cincinnati, to your point, yes, they made it last year. 9-7, won a playoff card berth with rookies like Dalton and Green. But when you look at them, they were 0-8 against other teams that reached the playoffs. So essentially, they beat up on bad teams. Now, that's the next step that Marvin Lewis has got to take with that team.
Yeah, the defense needs a little bit of improvement. They certainly have the offensive weapons. At least the offensive starting to be very good and solid offensively.
Here's Gilreath now on a return. Gilreath. Penalty flag flies as he goes to the sideline. Stiff arms. The punter gets out of bounds, but another flag back at the 21-yard line. Gilreath showing some of that Wisconsin speed that has him as the conference all-time kick return leader.
And as the laundry hit the ground, I could hear one of the sideline microphones pick up a comment that said, "Are you kidding me?" And that's exactly what we feel up here in the booth, because every big return that the Steelers have had, you've seen the yellow laundry get out there.
We have an illegal block in the back on the return team during the return. Number 3, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Marquise Mays.
Right there, you saw it right there at the end of it, maybe a little shield. And Bob, there's a way to make that block. You don't have to initiate any contact, just shield him. Even if his back is to you, look right there, no need to hit him. No need to force your hands out. Just shield him with your body, give your guy a chance to make a move.
Once again, back live, Heinz Field, 13:21 left, 10-10 game. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, sure, our coverage of the Steeler game extend past 10 o'clock tonight. The Steelers game will shift from KDKA to Pittsburgh CW due to CBS network coverage of the Republican National Convention. You can find Pittsburgh CW, Comcast Channel 15 or HD 808, Verizon Channel 3 or HD 503, and Armstrong Cable 6 or HD 110 will join the Republican National Convention. And anchorman Scott Pelley with the best coverage starting at 10 right here on KDKA.
It's in my hometown, Bob, Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida, yeah, and they skirted some of the problems with Isaac. Unfortunately, people down in New Orleans, in that region, the Gulf Coast did not, lots of rain, but fortunately nothing more significant than that, it appears.
Yeah, I took a trip to Florida and been talking to Mom and Dad and my older brother, and they said every day it's been raining. Every single day, little town of Live Oak, Florida, north central Florida, where we're all from, has been getting rain every day, and they led the national news one day. They were under several feet of water.
It's an incomplete pass to Tyler Byler, who was on San Francisco's practice squad last year. Trying to hang on here. He hasn't gotten hardly any playing time at all.
Which doesn't bode well. You haven't played a lot up until this time, then there's a lot of question marks. Very interesting. See big number 79 out there, Trey Essex, a very versatile offensive lineman, can play any position along the offensive line. You got to wonder where he's going to fit in on this team.
Exactly. Johnson again. Sings it down the field. Has Marquise Mays, who makes the reception. Pretty good coverage right there by number 29, Jordan Pugh. But Marquise Mays, who is guilty of a block in the back on that punt return, comes up with a 31-yard reception.
That's an NFL quarterback throw right there, throwing in anticipation of his receiver to the open spot, throwing him open in a sense, just releases it, lets his receiver run under it, make a play. All kinds of coverage over there. No one cared. Comes down with a big play.
He needed to do that. He hasn't had the best of training camps, but he's an exciting player, and I think they like the potential that he has there. And up the middle goes the new running back, Dwan Harris. Doesn't get much right there. Again, if you're joining us, 2 injuries tonight. Curtis Brown suffered an injury, recovered a fumble, has not returned. We don't expect that to be serious. But the big one was 51, Sean Spence, the 3rd-round pick. Just a horrendous-looking hyperextension into the grass, and he had to be carted off with an air cast. So
that's the kind of injury you see on artificial turf. You rarely see that injury on grass, and yet he was just a lot of body lean. All of his weight was right over his leg, and
Harris with not much real estate up the middle. Short gain. In case you joined us also, Charlie Batch looked real good tonight. And there was some talk about what the Steelers would do if they don't keep 3 quarterbacks, which is still a possibility. But I think he said tonight, hey, Mike, don't be so sure.
You don't have to keep 3. That's what the message was that I got from Charlie Batch. You don't have to keep 3, but just know that if I'm released, you're releasing a very good, very high-quality NFL quarterback that can still win in this game. That guy right there, Coach Mike Tomlin, has some very, very tough decisions to make here in the upcoming week.
Tonight, Charlie Batch, 11 of 14, 102 yards and a touchdown to Emmanuel Sanders. A beautiful throw in double coverage. He beat him early in this game. There's another good throw, and that goes to Wesley Saunders, the tight end. And Gerard Johnson puts it right on the money as the Steelers get close to the Heinz red zone. They'll mark it at the 21-yard line.
The young guy's working good up front. Look at this pocket up front. Watch the receiver get open. Look at it. Throw him open. He's anticipating the receiver coming to the open spot. He puts it there. Look at that. That's an NFL throw. Again, Gerard Johnson showing you he's got some moxie. He's doing what he needs to do. Look at him down the field. Throws it to the open spot. The receiver gets there. Nice throw and catch.
Saunders, solid. By the way, was undrafted last year out of South Carolina. He made the roster and then tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs, and he will sit out the first 4 games. Nice cut there by Harris at the 10, the 5, driven out of bounds, and that is Dwan Harris, who was just picked up this week off waivers from Jacksonville. And that's another nice gainer, and first and goal for the Steelers in the Heinz red zone.
Any question in your mind as to whether these 11 guys on the field right now want to cash an NFL check? Look at this. Look at the young guys blocking up front. Look at him working his way to the outside for the big gainer. These guys want to put 7 points on the board. Hey, Bob, they do not want to go to overtime.
They are officially in the Heinz red zone once again. 10-10 game, looking to break it right here. Gerard Johnson with 2 impressive passes on this drive as he tries to put up his case to, at the very least, be on the practice squad. Hand up the middle, and it's clogged and stopped right there by the Carolina defense.
Shifty, a little out and then in, nearly ankle breaking. I know my ankles are a little sore from earlier in the game, but.
Well, Johnson on this drive, Edmund, has completions on 3rd down of 31 and 29 yards. So that's coming up big on 3rd down.
No fear at all. Plenty of time in the pocket. Guys are doing a nice job up front. Standing tall, making some nice deliveries.
Tony Clemens, number 11, trying to get the attention here. He's on the field from Valley High School. Instead they go to Harris, who plows his way down to the 1, stretches for the end zone, but he'll be down at the 1-yard line. Tony Clemens is a receiver we thought out of Colorado by way of Michigan that he would be making this team or at least have a good shot, but it seems like Derek Williams and Gilreath have jumped ahead of him.
Coming right into your living room. You want a little bit of that action? A lot of hitting going on. Look at that move. Outside, inside, cutting, lowers the pads, gets behind him, and stretches. And again, we have an opportunity. 3rd down and goal. Short yardage situation. Are they going to run it? Are they going to pass it?
John Malecki at center. Franklin Regional. He's also looking for a roster spot. And now confusion, and Gerard Johnson doesn't like it, and he has to take a timeout.
Delay game.
Actually, a delay of game. He couldn't get the time off. He tried, but the flag came in too soon.
trying to check off at the line of scrimmage. Unfortunately, too much clock had run off already. Didn't have time enough to get his back situated. Of course, this is a guy that just got into camp. Really didn't know what the check was. Gerard probably was on the right page. The communication down there critical, and now a whole different situation. Now you have 3rd and 6, 3rd and goal. Probably a passing situation.
But they are in field goal range to take the lead here. It's Violet coming to the line, sets. Johnson now sends it into the end zone and has his man. Do they give it a touchdown? Yes, they do. Wesley Saunders, the big tight end out of South Carolina. Played well last year. They like him. And he comes through with a touchdown. Gerard Johnson looked good.
Watch this catch in the hands, away from the body, and extends him. Ball never came into his body. That's why Wesley Saunders is a part of this team. That's why he will survive the 4-game suspension, because he has that kind of talent, getting in there with a bunch of guys that you really don't know where they're going to be around in the regular season, and shows his stuff on that drive.
Wesley Saunders also started 6 games last year for the Steelers when they had some banged up people. 4 catches, 1 touchdown, and he gets in the end zone here, and that's the one that breaks the ice here. It's now 16-10, pending the extra point by Sean Sweesom, the hold of Drew Butler.
A lot of time on the clock. The Carolina Panthers going to certainly have a lot of time to respond.
Sweesom's kick is good, and the Steelers complete that drive. It's a long drive. Gerard Johnson with 2 big 3rd down conversions. He likes what he sees. Steelers have the lead. Steelers take the lead on a beautiful drive by Gerard Johnson, covering 89 yards. He was 3 for 3 on 3rd down for 66 yards on 3rd down, including that touchdown to Wesley Saunders.
Gerard Johnson, man, standing tall, looking like an NFL quarterback. He's a guy that you have to really consider for staying around. Maybe he can clear 24-hour waiver wire, put him on the practice squad, but with a performance like that, hard to tell.
And you know, he played where Ryan Tannehill played, who's now with the Miami Dolphins. Tannehill had to play some receiver because Gerard Johnson was that good, and he was the quarterback down there. So this one not fielded there by Armand Smith. It goes out of the end zone. Sweesom kicks it out, and Carolina now goes to work with 7 minutes, 23 seconds left in this game. 17-10, the Steelers have the lead. We will take a break, come back with more right here on your home for Steeler football, KDKA. Edmund Nelson up here in the booth at 17-10. The Steelers have the lead. Another reminder about the Coors Light Rib Fest and kickoff weekend right now through September the 3rd. You want the best ribs in the business, you can get them here. Make sure you come on down. If so, you'll meet Solomon from Carolina Rib King, and he has a special presentation. I'm sure not to me, Solomon. I know who's the king of ribs from the king yourself. What do you want to do, Solomon?
Well, I brought y'all some ribs, and I'm going to let you see what I did on Barbecue Pitmasters this season.
Oh, and there's almost completion to Jared Green. Josh Victorian was there. Almost had a pick. So,
hey, Bob, now I'm checking out my man's sauce, right? Solomon sauce here. 0 fat, 0 cholesterol, and only 10 grams of sugar. Now, I wonder what would happen. I just emptied this whole bottle on these
That's a green light for him. You don't understand. He could just dump that whole thing with that kind of encouragement.
You understand it's on, Solomon. You understand that, right?
It's on.
Did you smoke them like they needed to smoke? I mean, how long they been out of rehab? Because I know they've been smoking a long time.
About 4 hours.
4 hours? Just 4 hours out of rehab? Oh, it's on.
Little screen pass in the flat, and the runner trips up. That is Teron Poole.
I hear that beautiful accent. Where you from, Solomon?
Spondenberg.
South Kakalaki in the house.
Yeah. So, talk about this. This must be one of the biggest events you're part of. You're from South Carolina, which should make you happy that Wesley Saunders from South Carolina got the touchdown there. But what about this Rib Fest?
This Rib Fest is really large. Rob and the stadium and everybody put together a great Rib Fest. I hope to come out of here with a big victory. But, you know, first of all, we're going to take care of everybody in Pittsburgh.
All right, Solomon, we appreciate it, man. Thanks. Carolina Rib King.
Y'all enjoy that.
We will. I'm sure I won't, but he will.
Hey, man, don't act like you don't know me when I roll up on you now, because I'm going to come out there, so don't act like you don't know. Thank you for coming by, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Solomon. Rib kickoff coming up, Coors Lights, and it's all this week, all the way through Monday, September the 3rd, culminating with the rock superstar Uncle Cracker at 4 p.m. So come on down. Should be a nice weather weekend. Look forward to it.
Rib King, man. Carolina Rib King barbecue sauce. Hey, Bob, you heard me when I said that, right? Zero fat.
I heard you.
Zero.
I'm surprised you haven't telestrated any of this rib or something yet.
Yeah, it's coming.
All right, Gilreath takes it on a bounce. He's going to return it. Gets to the outside, not much there, and he's finally knocked out of bounds. And again, it's DJ Campbell over there, number 26. We'll take a break as we count down. The end of this preseason is almost here. 43 yards on that kick, 17-10. Steelers have the lead. Here right now, 17-10. They're dancing in the streets. They're so good. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, a reminder, at 10 o'clock, coverage of the Steeler game is going to shift from here, KDKA, to the CW, due to the CBS coverage of the National Convention for the Republicans. You can find Pittsburgh CW, Comcast Channel 15, HD 808, Verizon Channel 3, HD 503, and Armstrong Cable Channel 6, HD 110. We will join Scott Pelley and all the CBS correspondents from Tampa, Florida for the Republican National Convention. Mitt Romney speaks tonight. Meantime, that is Juwan Harris with a carry right there. And he's got the Troy Polamalu thing going. Not as big, but it's
impressive.
hanging over the name.
Certainly as impressive. Yes, that's absolutely right. Young guy comes in here, barely a week's work, and getting all the carries towards the end of the game. Just to put his wares on show for the rest of the NFL. Don't know if there's a lot of room for a good player like him with these running backs. Rashard Mendenhall, Isaac Redmond, Jonathan Dwyer, Baron Batch, Chris Rainey. 5 solid guys at the running back position.
You have to wait for Mendenhall to get back. In the meantime, it's in the capable hands of Redmond, Dwyer, Rainey, and Batch. John Clay was waived injured, so he's not part of that anymore. Will Johnson is going to end up making a spot at fullback because of the injury to David Johnson. Chris Rainey has been terrific. He had 2 touchdowns already coming into this game. Tonight, 2 more, nullified by penalty. And so, good news, bad news if you're the special teams coach, Amos Jones. You created that opportunity, but yet the penalties nullify the opportunity.
But all correctable, Bob. We saw the last one, just shield him. Don't try to push a guy in the back. If his back is to you, just shield him, stay in the way, keep your hands out of it. If you do that, that's very correctable, and I'm sure they're going to make those corrections. But against the Denver, a special teams play may turn the tide for the Steelers. That's going to be extremely important for them to be able to play mistake-free, especially in the kicking game. It's especially important in the kicking game.
This quarter is brought to you by the good people at Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Yep, and we got a busy September coming up on KDK TV Sports, also Pittsburgh CW. We have the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown each and every Sunday night, 11:35. Great round of sound, all good opinions right there, and we take your calls nightly on CW for the UPMC Urgent Care Nightly Sports Call. That's at 10:35 every night, so call us with your opinions, and there's a lot to talk about. Pirates going into September with a chance to get a playoff spot. This team starting now in what is should be a fantastic NFL season.
Let's go Bucks.
The hockey situation right now, they're undergoing labor talks, and CBA expires September the 15th, and hopefully there will be nothing compromised with regard to the season, because the Penguins are looking forward to what should be another great season in the Atlantic Division. So lots of stuff going on, not to mention high school football, which begins tomorrow night. Here's Gerard Johnson now. Sings it out, and it goes to the big guy, David Paulson, the 7th-round pick, short yardage.
You have a chance to talk to Bob Airy the other day at the Mineland Classic. I talked to him very briefly. He's not all that optimistic with the way things are going.
No, I think it's tough right now. There, Donald Fear's involved, and he, for those of you who followed baseball, know he's a guy who has gotten a lot for his association, and we'll see what happens here. But I think the owners are pretty much, they've put their line in the sand. I don't know if they're going to cross it, so could be some compromise. Hopefully there's something done before they lose any games. Another good punt by Drew Butler to Armani Edwards at the 11-yard line. With 3:10 left, it's time for our High Mark of the Game. High Mark of the Game is brought to you by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. I will defer to you, Edmund Nelson.
I'll say Ben Roethlisberger to Emmanuel Sanders. Oh, that wasn't Ben. That was Charlie Batch to Emmanuel Sanders with a beautiful throw and catch. Emmanuel Sanders splitting the seam and getting in the end zone for 7.
5-play, 80-yard drive engineered by 16 Charlie Batch, who threw for 102 yards on 11 for 14. What a nice performance by him tonight. I'm going to go with Chris Rainey. He's my high mark of the game because there were 2 electrifying punt returns for touchdowns in the same quarter.
It never happened, Bob.
It never happened. I know that. But
But I know what you
I
mean.
remember, and even though it won't show up in your box score, they were 78 and 90 yards for Chris Rainey, and he was just terrific. And so, yeah, they did happen to me, and I think 22 will be my high mark of the game.
It's a good choice. Very good choice. That young man's going to electrify crowds for a long time. This is a young running back contingent. Baron Batch, Chris Rainey.
Jimmy Clausen now airing it deep, looking down the field. He has a man, and that is a completion. It is held under by number 18, Lamont Bryant, who we haven't seen him all game long, and out of nowhere, Clausen hooks up with him for 79 yards. Lamont Bryant out of Morgan State.
Bob, there's a couple of things on this particular pass. First of all, you knew it was a mismatch. You got a tall guy on a shorter guy. Now, there you have to make a play, and if you don't make the play, then for sure grab him and get him on the ground. Those are the types of plays that young players have to be able to make in those types of situations. Good coverage. He's there, but there's a mismatch. That's a very tall receiver. Looks like he's well over 6 feet. Defensive back not quite that tall, but
he's 6'5".
Knock it down. Yeah, he's a big guy.
Bryant's 6'5".
And just throwing it up. That was the matchup.
That is Terrence Frederick, who's 5'10". He's their 7th round pick out of Texas A&M. And I haven't seen Lamont Bryant all game long. It was the first time, and he's a big guy not
We have
to be able to
timeout.
miss. Right.
Pittsburgh.
79 yards on that
That'll be a
scoring
30-second
drive.
timeout.
Clausen to Bryant. And once again, folks, at 10 o'clock, coverage of this Steeler game will shift from KDKA to Pittsburgh CW as we begin CBS network coverage of the Republican National Convention down in Tampa, Florida. You can find Pittsburgh CW, Comcast Channel 15, HD 808, Verizon Channel 3 on HD 503, and Armstrong Cable Channel 6, HD 110. We will join CBS here at the top of the hour, take you live to Tampa. Scott Pelley and all the people from CBS covering Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan, and the Republican National Convention. So that was out of nowhere, 79 yards. And have you seen enough of Terrence Frederick? That play notwithstanding.
Yes.
Young, and you don't like it?
No, I didn't like him. He's a very capable guy, but that particular play, he had to make that play. That's a play that you just have to make. You know, much like the play that Ike Taylor had to make, had to get that the receiver down, did not. So it happens to the best of them. And they're going for two.
This is a good thing, so there won't be overtime. Clausen looking in the end zone. Again, it's Bryant using that size, and there's a flag. It's the same exact matchup. Terrence Frederick against Lamont Bryant, and they're going to call pass interference, and they probably should have. It looked like it was a lot of contact.
Well, let's see. Terrence Frederick running one to the right of your screen right there. Is he holding? They got a lot of hand fighting. Everybody's pushing everybody. I don't know how you call that.
Pass interference, defense, number 37. Ball will be placed on the 1 yard line. We'll retry.
All right, we'll be switching here momentarily to CW, and if we do miss this play, you could switch over right now. We're going to count down. We have 15 seconds before we make the switch and join network coverage, and now you're going to have to do that, folks, if you want to see the conclusion of this two-point conversion. Thanks for joining us on KDKA. Stick around to CBS coverage of the convention.
Some confusion again on the field. Is there a timeout call?
Timeout. Carolina. That'll be a 30-second timeout.
So Carolina really trying to get this ball in the end zone for two. Of course, both coaches on the same page, not wanting to go to overtime. The injury factor, the injury bug has loomed large in this particular game, so everybody's trying to get home as healthy as they can to get into the regular season, and yet a football game broke out here at Heinz Field, Bob.
Yeah, it's been a long training camp in many ways, but Steelers will be ready to go, albeit injured. A lot of injuries. Again, in case you missed it earlier, an injury to Curtis Brown. He left the game, did not return, did not get an update there. But the big one tonight was Sean Spence, the outstanding prospect, the third-round pick out of Miami, left the game in an error cast on a cart. And it looked like he ripped up his knee on a big hyperextension. We'll try to get an update there. And as I said, 11 o'clock on KDK TV News, we will have the latest information on Sean Spence. 17-16 now. Pass interference is a redo now. We'll see what they do. Clausen barking out the signals. Same thing. He's going to go up. Same thing. Incomplete. This time Cortez Allen was on him. And no flag. Allen makes the play on 6'5" Lamont Bryant. So it's 17-16 Steelers up by 1.
On this particular play, if I was a quarterback, I would throw this one in the air. Get it up so that your receiver has a chance to elevate and use his length to get up over the shorter Cortez Allen, and yet the ball was thrown like it was a back shoulder throw. And, of course, Cortez made a nice play.
Yeah, Lamont Bryant, checking the notes, hasn't played a lot in this preseason, so he kind of got in there at the end, and they saw the mismatch over Terrence Frederick, and they used it to their advantage on a big 79-yard hookup.
Yeah, very unfortunate to be put in that situation, but hey, you know, that's what you hope for if you're a cornerback. Be put into a big critical situation where you can make a big play. Unfortunately, went the way of the offense.
Now, you don't get a chance too often to work on the onside play. I don't know if they'll do that right here. Down 17-16, each team with 2 timeouts left. These are, you know, specialty situations that come up. Situational football, as Mike Tomlin likes to refer to them.
It's good to take a look at it, though. As you can see, the hands team is on the field for the Pittsburgh Steelers, so they're certainly expecting an onside kick. Remember, you can't overload to a side in the NFL. We'll see what happens here.
Medlock is going to kick it deep instead. And this one goes over everyone out of the end zone to the 20-yard line, as we have 2 minutes and 31 seconds left, 31 until the 2-minute warning on a 17-16 Steeler advantage. So the regular season will begin actually next Wednesday. Dallas and the Giants, MetLife Stadium. Dallas has some issues going on there. They have not done a lot with regard to postseason play in the last decade.
Continually. They seem to breed it, you know.
Yet I was looking at some Forbes numbers on some of the most expensive franchises, and they're still on there, and I think it's a lot of hype, the Cowboys.
They have the pieces in place. The pieces just haven't performed up to speed, you know, and they have the facility. There's no question about that. That is a beautiful facility they have down there. Beautiful stadium. That scoreboard
timeout.
Is something to watch. I mean,
Carolina.
it's crazy.
That's
60
their
yards
second
long.
timeout. That'll be a 30-second timeout.
I don't know if it's set too well to see the Green Bay Packers and
no, that was
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Especially that week. All I remember is that they were trying to get rid of snow and ice with kitty litter because they didn't have anything down there in Dallas at that time of the year.
So I landed down south and I was driving up towards the game in Dallas-Fort Worth area. So we had about a 2-hour drive, 3-hour drive, and about an hour outside of Dallas, I was hitting rumble strips at 70 miles an hour. I'm like, what are they doing having rumble strips in the middle of the highway? It wasn't rumble strips, it was ice. It was ice
something.
packed up on the road.
According to Forbes, Dallas is worth $1.8 billion. Manchester United tops everyone. You know, they're from the English Premier League at $2.2 billion. The Steelers are worth $1.02 billion. And they are let me see here based on this, the 4th highest valued NFL team. Gilreath spinning, keeping in bounds, and now he gets a run over right there by Jason Williams.
But that play certainly looked like it had promise initially. Gilreath looked like he had some running room. Just a great play by the defense to keep that to a short gain.
So if you're looking at the wide receiver breakdown, Mike Wallace is back. He begins practicing on Monday. You know you got Antonio Brown, Mike Wallace, Emmanuel Sanders. You also have Jericho Cotchery. That's 4. You need 1 more. I've said it looks like Gilreath versus Williams. If you had to pick one of those 2, who do you go with?
That's very, very tough. That's
There's Mike Wallace
tough.
right there.
Fast money. Fast money back in the house.
He wants more money, obviously. He signed a tender, and I still believe they'll get it done, Edmund. I said this on our last broadcast. I figure there's a way. The Steelers still have potentially his control through this year, next year, and the following year if they so choose with a franchise tag. So
I think it's just a matter of whether Mike Wallace wants to be here, and I do think that he wants to be here. One of the things, Bob, that he has to consider is he has a high-profile franchise quarterback that can get him the ball. That's not necessarily that way around the league, as you well know.
Third down. Gerard Johnson was perfect the last drive on that third down. This time he's just going to stay in bounds. That's a smart play as the clock now runs to the 2-minute warning. So Carolina's going to get a shot here with a 2-minute drill after the punt.
That's the 2-minute warning.
We'll take a break. 17-16 Steelers. We'll be back with the remaining 2 minutes right after this. We're back. Steelers lead 17-16. Drew Butler will kick it away one final time here. Carolina will have a chance to move into field goal position. It's Joe Adams. Makes a move right on there on McFadden, but he doesn't get anywhere else as Brandon Hicks comes down. Makes a nice play on special teams. A 49-yard boomer once again by Drew Butler. And we'll see Carolina now try to go to work to set up a game-winning field goal. And looks like Robinson got a little dinged up there, but they no timeouts remaining. Is that correct? No timeouts for Carolina. We'll see what they can do with Jimmy Clausen at the helm.
They certainly have a chance. Jimmy Clausen hasn't looked bad. Derek Anderson had some flashes of some good shots. So the Carolina quarterbacks doing just fine, although they won't see a whole lot of the field with Cam Newton stepping in there.
They've got some good playmakers on this team. We hadn't seen, obviously, and talked a lot about Steve Smith out of Utah. 5 Pro Bowls. He's had a foot infection. You see Cam Newton there with D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, Olsen, their big tight end. They do have weapons, not to mention Newton's ability to make things happen with his feet. Here's Clausen now, straight back, throws, has a man. That's complete on the sidelines to one of his tight ends, Joe John Finley, and he gets out of bounds to stop the clock.
Brandon LaFell, also number 11 on the outside. Monty Edwards, we saw a lot of him tonight. They got some playmakers in the passing game as we watch this pass. Boy, look how wide open he is. Get the drop back. Make sure you know where you need to be in the zone. Looks like a breakdown in coverage right there.
1st and 10, 1:39 remaining now. Carolina with a big 79-yard touchdown moments ago. Oh, what a play right there at the point of attack by Marshall McFadden. The undrafted linebacker out of South Carolina State, anticipated almost like Troy Polamalu right there.
Now that's significant because look at the linebacker situation. Sean Spence has gone down. McFadden smells blood in the water. Says, hey, this is an opportunity for me. Let me get in here and show Coach LeBeau I mean business.
Clausen now underthrows the big man, Brian, who had the touchdown. Again, Cortez Allen is now assigned to him. And that goes incomplete. Sets up 3rd down and 14 after the nice loss by Marshall McFadden. And that's a good point you bring up. With all these injuries now, who knows? You might get a chance.
You have to have linebackers that can play. You know, Stevenson Sylvester, don't quite know what his status is. Of course, Harrison coming back, you're hoping that he's as healthy as they've said he is. Jason Worlds, how healthy is he going to be? Having to play in a cast, how effective is he going to be?
All right, it's a 3rd down now for Jimmy Clausen. 3 wides in the game. Here comes the pressure. He zings it, and the pressure forced him to go to Bryant earlier than he wanted to. Covered by Josh Victorian, and it falls incomplete. 4th down.
And there's some consternation as to whether there was a timeout called.
Yeah, it looked like Cortez
We have a
Allen
timeout on Pittsburgh.
He threw his
For
hands in the
second and a
air
half. It'll be a 30-second timeout.
right before the play.
Clock operator, please reset the clock to 1:11. 1 minute, 11 seconds.
There's Coach Tomlin making the signal. Timeout, timeout,
Right before
timeout.
the play, so that incompletion will go. I believe it goes back to 3rd down. Is that correct?
Yes. No play.
They have it 4th down here at the stadium, but I think they're going to turn that back. And it was Cortez Allen who was on the big guy, Bryant, and he was throwing his hands in the air, and I think Tomlin saw that, and whatever happened there obviously was a situation they were not comfortable with. Dick LeBeau talking with Tomlin.
You can see Ryan Clark all the way out on the field talking to his young safeties, trying to make sure that the proper coverage is called. Ryan Clark will be in that capacity as well when they go to Denver.
So it is 3rd down again. Here comes more pressure. He sends it underneath, and it goes to Finley. Finley trying to get the sticks. He does. Now he doesn't get out of bounds. That'll be short of first down. He does not get out of bounds to Joe John Finley, a gain of 13.
Either going to try a long field goal here or go for it on fourth down. And it looks like the field goal unit for the Carolina Panthers is coming on. A bit premature, but the clock is running. No more timeouts. So this is their shot.
Well, Medlock missed one from 56 yards at the other end of the stadium earlier. Mike Tomlin is going to call another timeout. We'll let the young man think about it. And these are coaching maneuvers.
Timeout.
Ron Rivera wants to find out if this kid
The
has the
final
moxie.
timeout.
They gave him the job already, so you got to see him in this situation. And
Yeah.
Tomlin wants to
Well, I
utilize
think
that
also
final timeout.
that may have been a timeout of necessity because there weren't either enough guys on the field or there were too many because guys were running off and coming on at the same time. There was a lot of confusion out there. Amos Jones is working with a bunch of guys that really haven't been in this position, so he's right in the middle of that huddle there trying to figure out who's in, who's where, who's doing what. And as soon as they get that hashed out, they're going to get back out here and try to block this kick or do what they can do to make sure they don't make it.
Here's an observation, and this is just me being speculative at this point. Will Allen was out late in this game. He is a safety, but I think they like Robert Golden quite a bit. The fact that he wasn't playing and Will Allen was very late in this game, to me, says something. I don't know what, but we'll find out when cuts are made, but I do know they like Golden quite a bit. This will be a 50-yarder for the win, for all intents and purposes. It's up, and it is no good. And keep in mind, Medlock was given this job over Alinda Mare, the veteran. They cut him. They have Medlock. He's missed now from 56 and 50 yards, and he will be the man they entrust the kicking duties to during the regular season.
And did you see who was in there on the block? Chris Rainey coming off the edge. It was just a shank. There was no block here, but there was some pressure on him. Actually got a nice foot into it, just pulled it a little bit. You can see it clears all of the hands. Guys did a good job trying to get up and block that, but to no avail, and it was a miss.
So that's going to pretty much do it now is Gerard Johnson, who looked good tonight, especially on third down before the touchdown pass. And this is a guy who I think will have a position in this organization at some point, whether it's practice squad or else. We'll see. Cuts need to be made tomorrow. 75 players reduced to 53 as Rivera and Tomlin know they got still a lot of work to do. But the preseason is over, folks, as the Steelers now will focus on the Denver Broncos week 1, and what a game that'll be. That may be one of the most watched openers in the history of the NFL, I think, anyway. We'll talk more about that. Steelers win 17-60. Back with more after this.